had to smack them with the genetic modification before I went live. People are spiraling because they don't want to know the truth, but it is all good. I'm about to start going.
It would never have a dark area anywhere because it would still be for Parsons aiming towards the sun, right?
No.
The Earth is back.
Yeah, the Earth is
so even when you're 600 miles away and it's darker, so it's 600 miles away, or lighter, so it's 600 miles away, the world is black.
It actually proves that the sun is local. Thank you. So this guy's asking me why it gets dark when the sun goes away. You want to know why? Because the sun is local. That's why it's hotter at noontime, because the sun is close to you. When it gets away, does it get cooler? Yeah, it does. You know why? Because it moved away from you. You know what they say? The sun sits still and you're falling backwards at 12 miles per hour, and it just looks like that. That's a cool. I'm offering $100 to anyone that can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth model. In the world. All right, we're back. So yeah, they told you that you live on a magic spinning cartoon ball in a vacuum. I've been there a few times. I know some of the people that had to be heard a few times. I apologize for the redundance. What are you doing? In the world. Okay, sorry. So anyway, I know you guys think I'm crazy because I don't think the Earth is a ball, but the truth is, no one's won the $100 because none of you know why they say the Earth's a ball. None of you know what size the Earth is, how fast it spins, what tilt it's on, etc. You should think to yourself, how is it that I'm crazy for not believing what you believe, but you don't know what you believe yet? I know exactly what you believe. I tested it for 5 years. This is why I've been forcibly censored and kicked.
Hey folks, you all know what you believe.
Weeks. I've been kicked off of all major platforms, including payment platforms. So PayPal kicked me off, Venmo kicked me off. I thought this was a free country. I don't even cuss. I get censored. You can be half naked twerking on YouTube and get 1 million views, though. It seems legit. So as long as you walk the line and you say what they tell you to say, you're good to go. Why is it so low? In a world where people spiral because the Earth's not a magic spinning cartoon ball. I'll give you $100 if you can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth correctly. Half the answers are on my freaking sign right here. I even tell you what the first question is. How many times does the globe Earth spin every 24 hours? It's the easiest question I could come up with. I've actually had about half the people get that one wrong. It's so simple. Okay, so if you know any of the information about the globe Earth, I'm crazy for not believing you. Feel free to come get the free $100. If you get it wrong, you don't lose money. You don't gotta pay me, right? But everyone's scared to come up here because they know they don't know the answers. We also do accept questions. So if you just are genuinely curious and you want to come, you think you can stump the stupid flat earther, come ask me anything you can think of. You can't stump me because I looked into all of them. It's not because I'm a genius, just because I didn't blindly believe what they said and I went and researched it. So let me tell you a few things about why we know the Earth is not a ball. Well, the basic part is this has to be curving if it's a ball, right? That's what balls do, they curve. Okay, well, it's a certain size, it's supposed to curve at a certain rate. That's 8 inches per mile squared up to 1,000 miles. It's called Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so that means that we should see the curvature of the Earth at 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Sounds complicated to people that don't like math, I get it. It's simple though. The square root of 1 is 1. So 1 foot off the surface of the Earth, I should see the curvature of the Earth at 1.2 miles away, no further than that. We have an observation 1 foot off the surface of the Earth and off the coast of Cali. You can see the horizon over 10 miles away. This would require the radius value to be 264,000 miles. They claim it's just under 4,000 miles. Seems like something's not adding up. That's a little off, huh? We falsified the radius value. This is why they admit in Congress that they censor us forcibly. This was a free country. You know why they censor us? Because it isn't a debate. Neil deGrasse Tyson will get dominated by any flat earther that actually knows what they're talking about. They would never debate. He actually had a flat earth debate set up. He backed out. His handlers told him, "Oh, bro, you can't do that." So who's crazy here? The people that don't know what you were told, the people that studied everything you were told and went and tested it. Another problem with this globe Earth model is they say it's in a space vacuum. You guys really want the Earth to be a ball because you want to go to space. That's the truth. You were showing cartoons. Apparently when 69, we just can't go back yet. We haven't figured out that technology yet. Anyway, they say it's a near perfect vacuum of 10 to the negative 17 torr. You can't have pressure sitting next to a vacuum. It's called the Second Law of Thermodynamics. The necessary antecedent to pressure is containment. It's in the word pressure. Pressure. It presses on the walls of a container. This is why your soda stays fresh. It's because it's sealed. When you open it up, what happens? It goes psh, and then it equalizes to the air around it. This is the second law of thermodynamics. High pressure migrates to low pressure. So how could you have a near perfect vacuum sitting next to a pressurized system that keeps you alive? That's what you're breathing, oxygen. You couldn't. It filled the vacuum. It's literally impossible. It's a violation of the second law of thermodynamics. Every time they claim to go to a medium that defies physics, they have to be lying. It can't exist that way. But don't worry, they don't even claim they go anymore. They claim they went in 1969, they just can't go back. World-renowned astronaut Don Pettit, he says, well, I would go back to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we destroyed that technology and it's a painful process to build it back. So 50 years later, we can't build the technology we had in 69. That's a cool story. I thought I was the conspiracy theorist. I guess it's because we're out of Nazis, though. Because apparently Nazis are the one that got us to space. No, a lot of you don't know that either. It's called Operation Paperclip. Look it up. The only way we got to space is we used Nazi scientists. I thought we hated Nazis. I thought we were just protest Nazis. But America loves Nazis if you look at our history. So they kill millions of people. And did we hang them for their war crimes against humanity? No, we did not. We actually propped them up and revered them as scientific geniuses. We took an SS officer of the Nazi regime over here by the name of Werner von Braun and put him in charge of space exploration. I thought they were Nazis. I thought we didn't like them. It's called Operation Paperclip. I guess we can't go back because we're fresh out of Nazis. This guy also wrote a science fiction book in the 50s. The main character's name is Elon. Guess what Elon does in his science fiction book? He founds the first civilization on Mars. Sound familiar? We got a guy now in 2021 named Elon Musk that's supposedly about to take us to Mars. Well, I guess the Nazi was just a prophet. He prophesized Elon Musk 70 years in advance. You sound like a coincidence theorist. I thought I was crazy. Most of you guys don't know anything about this. I've been offering $100 for 3 days in this entire city. No one has won the money. It's because you guys don't know anything about the model. And how could you know it's real if you don't know what it is? Something else is called fluid statics. That's water always finds this level, right? Fluid statics necessitates water find this level. That's why we put fluid in levels. I know that's profound. That's how we build houses, because water finds this level. You know why we call it sea level? Because it's level. This is how we get elevations. We measure a distance above sea level. How could 70% of a ball be level? Apparently the globe Earth is magic and it defies natural law. Water bends convexity around the exterior of a spinning spherical object in a vacuum. Just this one time. It's just this one time it can happen. Actually, there's $1 million offer to anyone that can replicate this. It's been up for 2 years. The flight earthers offered $1 million. No one's got the money. Can you replicate water adhering to the exterior of a spinning spherical object? You get $1 million. Sounds like a come up. You can't do it. It's impossible. It violates natural law. You also can't show pressure sitting next to a vacuum without filling the vacuum. That violates natural law too. It's called Second Law of Thermodynamics. So if we can't go to space since 1969, space can exist as is defined. Water always finds this level, and 70% of the Earth is supposed to be water. How is it that it's a spinning ball in a vacuum? And don't worry, this isn't just like I wonder what the Earth is. We proved it. That's why we're censored. We tested it. We have an observation off the coast of Cali where the radius has to be 264,000 miles. We have an observation in France where we see our mountains from 223 miles away. It's supposed to be hidden by over a mile of Earth curvature. Do you guys know how long a mile is? Now, think about how long a mile is. Now, think about it vertically. That's how much of the Earth is supposed to be blocking our view. But it did not. We saw the entire mountains from 200 miles away, top to bottom. This is literally impossible. You can see the Chicago skyline across Lake Michigan from over 60 miles away. It's supposed to be completely obstructed by Earth curvature. You guys sound like conspiracy theorists to me. You guys sound like someone that believes in a religion but never read the book. I read the book. So, really I do this for children predominantly because they're being lied to. If you're an adult and you're open-minded, I love it. But most of you guys are really kind of arrogant and don't want to hear it. But they're lying to children. There's nothing more despicable than lying to children and telling them that they came from nothing out of a big bang and evolved from monkeys and that nothing's important or special about them, and they go around and turn into zombies. And then they get on TikTok and then they never ever get their brain back. It's disgusting. But most people just got to post a pic for the gram, bro. Right? People want to take pictures of me because it's crazy flat earth to post a pic for the gram. But why don't you tell me you couldn't come get that $100? I'll make it $200. No one will get the money. No one ever gets the money. Half the answers are right here. So the truth of the matter is the sun and the moon are local. That means that they're closer than they said. They're smaller than they said. See, they look to be like the same size, right? You know what they say? It just looks like that. The sun's actually 400 times bigger than the moon. Just coincidentally, it's also exactly 400 times further away. So they look like they're the same size. Oh, what a coincidence. You're back to being a coincidence theorist. You know what the other option is? They're the same size. Wow. Whenever you see the sun moving in the sky, you know what they say? It's actually sitting still. You're falling backwards 1,000 miles per hour, and it just looks like that. You know what the other option is? It moves in the sky. Wow. Whenever you go out and you look at the horizon, guess what it is? It's horizontal. That's what horizon means. It comes from the word horizontal. So when you see it and it looks flat, you know what they say? It just looks like that. It's actually curving. You know what the other option is? It's flat. Just like every other thing of water ever has been in the history of mankind. When you look up and you see the star trails, I take them all the time lapse of the star trails. It's circular around. They circumvent the center North Star. You know what they say? They're actually sitting still, and it just looks like that because you're spinning. You just can't feel it. You know what the other option is? They just reset for all recordable history around the center over the center of the Earth like we observed. Oh no, it would just take billions of years to see the difference, trust me. It's a joke. When you really look into it, it's laughable. You know what else they say? You might not feel the Earth spinning, but it's spinning 1,000 miles per hour. You know what the other option is? It's not spinning. The only way the Earth's spinning is if you're hammered. And if you're hammered and you lay down, you get the spins, what do they tell you to do? Put your feet on the ground so you stop spinning. You know why? Because the Earth doesn't spin. So how about all the children here, ask your teacher a question next time you're in science class, which is really pseudo-science class. Ask them, how are we breathing oxygen? How can pressure sit next to a vacuum? Ask them to define the second law of thermodynamics. How does pressure sit next to a vacuum? It fills the available space. They cannot answer this. I debate astrophysics professors, they can't answer it. Trust me, your elementary and middle school teachers aren't going to be able to answer it. The second law of thermodynamics necessitates pressure will fill the available space. Entropy will always increase. So how is it that the globe Earth makes claims antithetical to natural law and we're supposed to blindly believe it because Nazis went to the moon in '69, we just can't go back? That's the official story, by the way. The official story is that we went to the moon in '69, we can't go back, and it's because we helped bring Nazis over here. What a joke. So anyway, most people will say, you're crazy, Austin. The Earth has to be a ball. Oh, you're so stupid, look at this picture. And they literally come and show me a cartoon and don't realize it's a cartoon. Well, don't worry, NASA.gov admits they're just cartoons and there aren't real pictures. They're just cartoons. A direct quote from NASA.gov is, we take pictures from up above the Earth, we stitch it together over a flat Earth, and we then wrap it around the ball and bring an artist in. And the artist does an artist rendition to match what the observer expects it to look like. His name is Robert Simmons. Just Google Robert Simmons, Blue Marble, NASA.gov. You know what Robert Simmons' direct quote is? Of course it's photoshopped. It has to be. I thought we had pictures of the Earth from space. I thought I was crazy. We literally don't. We literally don't even have pictures of 2021. I'm doing a live stream in high definition. We don't have pictures of the Earth from space. What happened? Oh, it's too dangerous to go there. We may die. Then how did we do it like 6 times in the 60s? Supposedly we went to the moon. We called the president and he talked to him with no delay from a landline. I just documented a SpaceX launch the other day. They had like 1.52 second delay at a low elevation in 2021. How did they have no delay in '69 talking to the president in the White House on a landline? You guys don't even know the story because you're young. You were shown cartoons. Whenever they say, oh look, it looks like the sky is moving, but actually the Earth is still and it looks like that, they don't tell you that in school, do they? Nope. They show you cartoons of planets and tell you to remember the names of them. That's like the first thing you're taught. Do they tell you what size it is? What size is the Earth? No one knows. How would you test if the Earth's a ball? You would test to see if the size is right. What a coincidence, no one knows the size of it. They just taught you fairy tales about space with cartoons. And your teachers can't answer this question. And I'm not trying to bash them, they believe they lie too. But the problem is, this has very big ramifications. Numerous people will say, what's this even matter? Why would they lie? So I use this analogy a lot. Say you have a girlfriend. I know it's hard for some of you, I imagine. Say you had a girlfriend, and I walked up to you with my iPhone. I said, I got some bad news, bro. Your girlfriend's cheating on you. And I got a video of it. Would you say, bro, I'm not looking at that evidence. She would never cheat on me. Why would she lie? Until you can tell me why she cheated or why she lied, I'm not looking at the evidence. Or would you look at the evidence and then figure out why she lied? You should figure out if they lied and then figure out why they lied. Truth is, I know they lied. I've tested it. That's why I've been kicked off every major platform. In Congress, they admit they censored this. I thought this was a free country. If you Google Flat Earth, you'll get one thing, the Flat Earth Society. The Flat Earth Society is a CIA misinformation group. Not one real Flat Earther thinks anything that's on that website. Why is it that's not censored? So it can make us look stupid. They tell you that we think that the Earth is a disk in a solar system shooting up 9.8 meters per second squared. No one thinks that. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. The Earth is the bottom of everything. The sky resets over top of us. The Earth doesn't move. Why don't they tell you that's what we really think? Because some people might actually go and test it and find out that's what it does. I've been doing it for years. You guys have never made long distance observations. You guys have never made observations of the sky. You've never made time lapse of the star trails. Okay, why is this guy blue? You guys have to document time-lapse of the star trails. You'll see that they go in perfect circles around the central point called Polaris for all recordable history. Megalithic. Okay, fair enough. Then just think you live on a tiny speck of dust and you came from monkeys. See, the truth is that the Earth is the center of everything and doesn't move. Evolution's fake, has no evidence. They said, oh, it takes billions of years. Yeah, that's a cool story. You don't see any of the intermittent species because they die. It takes billions of years. So if water always finds its level, how is water bending around a ball? Is it level or is it curved? It's not a ball, though. Yeah. Do I not believe in gravity? I'll give you this. You did use the right word, believe. See, y'all just blindly believe in it. I call it a religion. You guys just haven't read Genesis yet, but you're still religious. But anyway, I'll tell you what your Genesis says. See, they have no evidence for gravity, but it has to be there if the Earth's a ball because you'd fall off of it. It's like one of the first questions you ask when you're 7. Hey, look at this little ball that says not for educational purposes on the bottom of it. It can't be used for travel. It's completely disproportionate and not accurate at all. This is where we live. And then you say, oh wait, wouldn't we fall off? Trying to be funny and the whole class laughs. And then the teacher says, no, gravity. And you're like, oh, that's what's up. When's recess? You guys don't even know what gravity is. Somebody define gravity. Somebody define gravity. 29. Okay, so anyway. Most people think gravity is mass attracting mass. That's not even what gravity is anymore. Most of your teachers don't even know this, but it was actually superseded in 1915. Mass the conceptual reification of gravity. Okay, so the new definition since 1915 is that gravity is the effect of the bending and warping of space and time. It's called the theory of relativity. In 1905, Einstein proposed special relativity, attributing a constant speed to light. And then in 1915, he built upon that with the theory of relativity. That's the current rhetoric. When we applied the theory of relativity to the universe, guess what happened? We found out we were off by 95%. That's 2021 top tier science. They're off by 95%. I thought I was a conspiracy theorist. You believe something that can't even be mathematically proposed yet. It's off by 95%. What a joke. It's called dark matter and dark energy, which are undefined, by the way. They're just mathematical band-aids. Dark means we don't know. Matter means we assume it's matter. So first of all, let me explain what's wrong with the theory of relativity. Okay, then leave. Okay, so space is a concept, time is a concept. Alright, so space isn't a real thing. It's the idea of emptiness. Satellites are just connected to balloons. They've crashed out of the sky numerous times. There's something called the Google Loan Project. Whenever we had to give internet to people, we had to act in remote areas that don't have any towers. We had to put balloons up. It's called the Google Loan Project. What? Yeah, I know what it is. Well, actually, that's pretty outdated layman rhetoric. I'm guessing you're on Google. No, actually, objectively, it's the theory of relativity, which is that gravity is the bending and warping of space and time. Anybody can have that $2 if they know the distance to the sun. You can have it anyway. 93 million miles. You guys think the sun's 93 million miles away? It's changed 6 times in the last 100 years. Looks like they can't make their mind up. Oh, I'm crazy though. You just believe whatever the updated version is. How does the distance of the sun change 6 times in 100 years? You want to know why? Because their math keeps not working, so you have to change it. Climate change isn't real. That's painfully redundant. Climate's change. That's what climate means. So, you're embarrassed for me, but you don't know anything about it. I'll give you $100 if you can answer 3 questions about the globe. $100. No, I'm talking about your globe. Alright, come on. Alright, the first one's super easy, bro. How many times does the Earth spin in 24 hours?
1.
Correct. That's the easiest question I could think of. Alright, here we go. No one say it. If someone says it, I can go to. What's the circumference of the Earth? Circumference is the size, the area all the way around it. Of course not. It's not your fault. 25,000 would be a little bit closer. 24,901. Which means the radius is 3959 and it has to curve at a certain rate. Guess what it doesn't do? Curve at that rate. You guys haven't tested it though. Don't blindly believe your teachers. I know a lot of you guys, you just want to fit into the crowd. You're around your friends. It's embarrassing. That's a cartoon according to NASA, so cool. I can show you a cartoon of Superman too. So anyway. What? Yeah, the moon landing is fake. Yeah, in 1969, they said they went to the moon. They just can't go back yet. What a cool story. Something called Operation Paperclip. We took Nazis over here to go to the moon. It's actually declassified. Nazis had UFOs in the 30s. Why they bring rockets in the 60s, but I digress. So you can't go to a medium that has a pressurized system adjacent to a near perfect vacuum that violates the second law of thermodynamics. Every time they claim they go there, it's literally impossible. We can't go back since 69. I guess technology got worse. Our phones got better, our cars got better, our railroads got better, our bridges got better, everything else got better, our TVs got better. But rockets, whew, they got worse. They admit that they can't go to the moon. Don Pennant, the world-renowned astronaut, says, and I've said this already a few times, I'd go back to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back. So apparently they destroyed the technology of the biggest leap in the history of mankind. Also, they lost all the telemetry data, which would be the actual physical documentation of the moon. They lost it all. They also came back and said they brought moon rocks and gave them to different countries. The countries tested the rocks. Guess what they were? Petrified wood. You can Google all this. It was petrified wood. Why did we give another country petrified wood and claim it was a moon rock? Oh man, that's just a coincidence. Guys are coincidence theorists. Werner von Braun wasn't put in charge of space exploration, an SS officer of the Nazi regime. I thought we hated Nazis. On his tombstone, he has Psalms 19:1. You want to know what that says? It says the firmament of the earth shows the handiwork of the Creator. The firmament is a container over top of you. It comes from the word rakia in Hebrew. So why did the guy that went to space tell us that there's a firmament on his deathbed? He let the secret out when he died. But no one put it together because you guys are just trying to post a pic for the gram. You guys are around your friends, so you're trying to be cool. But I know some of you guys that are younger, you're actually independent thinkers. Or at least you eventually will be. Think for yourself, because the truth is you're not a tiny speck of dust in the ever-expanding universe that defies physics, fluid statics, second law, etc. So you should ask your question, what does it matter? There's something called cognitive dissonance. You hold two opposing ideologies to be true simultaneously. So then your brain shuts down, and you try to dismiss it and not talk about it or think about it. That's what people do with this, because it's uncomfortable. So they have to make a joke to look like they're cool or something, right? Well, what's it even matter? Why would they lie? Why would they lie? Okay. We give NASA $60 million a day. That's every single day. $60 million a day. But we know the government would never lie for money, so we'll throw that one out. So there's something called the Antarctic Treaty. Every single major world superpower has agreed on this. That means Russia, China, the United States. Yeah, they're enemies and they hate each other, but they put their differences aside, had a glass of cognac, and agreed on this, that the humans aren't allowed to go past the 60th south latitude. Every single country in the world. But the government would never lie for land and resources, right? So we'll put that one aside, because they would never lie for resources. I guess except for 2001, huh? Okay. Well, I told you you're a tiny speck of dust in the ever-expanding universe. Everything came from nothing. That's called the Big Bang Theory. It actually doesn't say that, though. It says there's a pre-existing energy. Most atheists think that the Big Bang Theory is real. Hilariously enough, it was proposed by a Catholic priest. Thought you were an atheist. It says there's a pre-existing energy. It doesn't say everything came from nothing. It still doesn't answer the question, but it doesn't matter. So you're just random. It's chaotic. The universe is huge. You're a tiny speck of dust. You're lucky to be here. It's just random, like happenstance. And then lightning struck primordial soup, and rocks became humans eventually. Right? You evolved from apes. Nothing special about you. Nothing's important about you. Okay? But if the flat Earth is true, which it objectively is, I've tested it. That's why I'm censored. It changes everything, because that means the Earth is stationary and geocentric. That means the center of everything. The entire sky resets centralized to this location. If the Earth is the center of everything, that means it had to be put here. Uh-oh. Who put it here? The necessary antecedent to creation is a creator. If you knew that you were created, maybe you wouldn't blindly just, be scared of oxygen for a year and then listen to the government. You know that the government doesn't give you orders. You're easier to control whenever you think that you came from an ape. It's called nihilism. Apathy. You don't care about anything, so you're easy to control and manipulate. Okay, what's another reason they would lie? That's obviously the biggest one, by the way. So there's something that happens psychologically, right? Whenever you believe the opposite of what you experience, it has a psychological impact. And what happens is you can no longer tell the difference between truth and fiction. That's why a lot of you guys watch the news every day. They tell you one story, the next day they tell you a different story, and the next day they flip it back over and believe it all the way. You follow them every single time. They can't all be true. They said opposite things. Well, the reason that they've got you like that, where you're scared of the air, is because they've told you to believe the opposite of everything you ever experienced. So whenever you don't feel the earth moving, Well, it actually is moving. It's just relative. You're falling backwards 1,000 miles per hour watching sunsets. Whenever you see the Earth is flat, it just looks like that. It's actually curved because it's so big. Well, it needs to be a lot bigger according to our observations. It needs to be over a 250,000-mile radius. They say it's under 4,000. That's not even close. It's not even in the ballpark. So you might say, oh, maybe they lied about the size of the Earth. Maybe it's just bigger. Wrong. Because if the radius value is wrong, the entire model is wrong. Day and night cycle uses this. Gravity uses it. Distances on the Earth use this. We know the distances are right. We travel. The entire model falls apart. The radius value falls apart. Well, guess what we did as Flat Earthers? The real ones, not Flat Earth Society, the ones that are censored. We went and tested the radius value because we knew that's where the truth was. If it's really what it's supposed to be, we'll see it curving at a certain rate. It doesn't do that anywhere. Well, I guess the Earth just flat in California, in Florida, in Tennessee, in Kansas, in Australia, in Japan, in China. Oh, it's just a ball that's flat all over the place. What a cool story. 70% is water. Water always finds this level. It's called fluid statics. So how is 70% of a ball flat? The truth is, everything you've experienced is the truth. When you see the sun move, it moves. When you see the sky reset every single year, that's why we have 77 constellations, because they're constant. They've reset for thousands of years. The Egyptians built megalithic structures that still line up with the same stars they lined up with then thousands of years ago. Well, they say we're spinning 1,000 miles per hour east of the equator, going around the sun 66,600 miles per hour, while the sun shoots through space 500,000 miles per hour, while the galaxy shoots through space 1.3 million miles per hour. If you add all these different vectors together, you would have what's called parallax. You would see a difference in the movement of the stars over time. But we don't.
Hey, Mike.
They're the same forever. It's because the sky is a clock, effectively. It resets over top of you. All around Polaris.
200 proof.
So you can act like it doesn't matter. Really, you're just self-projecting either intellectual insecurity, ignorance, or whatever. It's all good. Intelligent people don't care what dumb people think. Stand up and be independent. Don't worry about what the crowd thinks. The crowd thinks it's cool to be scared of air. The crowd thinks it's cool to be genetically modified. Right? The crowd thinks everything came from nothing. The crowd is dumb. But see, you're not. The only way that you can fall into being dumb is to believe what the crowd thinks. Don't think based on majority, think based on what the evidence is. So the Earth's not curving anywhere. What is it? Because the surface of the Earth is literally not curving anywhere. So what is it? Huh. Oh, but we have mountains. Yeah, it's called a topographical plane. The Earth is flat. Wouldn't you fall off of it? Not one flat earther thinks you fall off the Earth. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. We know there's something called the Antarctic Treaty. You can't travel past the 60th south latitude. It's illegal. Every major world superpower has agreed on this. So someone circumnavigated the Earth, or at least attempted to. His name is Captain Cook. A few others did this too. He went 60,000 miles. And all he did was see an ice shelf the entire time around the water. Huh. And now we're not allowed to go check it out. Seems legit. So there's a higher elevation of the ice on the outside. It contains the water. That's convenient because water has to be contained. You know what they do in school? They say, people used to think the Earth was flat. And they show you a picture of a boat falling off of it. No one actually thinks that. Why wouldn't they tell you what we really think if it's provably wrong and we've been to space? Because it's not wrong. They had to lie to you about what we think. If that doesn't raise a red flag to you, then you're being dishonest. I was in science class when I was young. They rolled in the TV with Bill Nye, the science guy, not actually a scientist, just an actor, by the way. And he said, well, people used to think the Earth was flat. But then we found out it was curved because whenever you sail a boat over the ocean, it disappears behind the curvature of the Earth. This is how we know the Earth's a ball. Well, guess what really happens? If you go out, it'll look like the boat disappears, and then you pull binoculars out, you can see the boat again. And then it'll appear to disappear again, you pull a telescope out, you can see it again. And then when it disappears again, you can pull a P900 out, and then you can zoom in with the camera and see it again. You know what happens? It looks like it disappears because it reaches a limit of perspective. You have an angular resolution to your eyes. That's why when you look at the end of a long railroad, you can't see all of it. They appear to converge. They're parallel though, they don't converge. So you just can't see forever. And then when you extend your limit of perspective by creating an optical zoom, you can see it again. I thought I went over the curvature of the Earth. The primary reason I bring this up is because you should ask yourself, why did they lie to us about that? If they're telling the truth about the Earth, why did they lie and say that's proof the Earth's a ball when it's literally not? Because there is no proof the Earth's a ball. Because they had to lie to you. And they knew if they showed you cartoons and they told you have to remember it to take the test and regurgitate the information correctly, that's all you do. Then you're going to go back home and play your sport, watch your TV. You're going to grow up and go to college because mommy and daddy told you to. And then you're going to start posting pics for the gram. And you're going to go work 9 to 5 and never even think about the Earth again. Right? They got us. They got us. But it's okay, you can break out of it. All you have to do is think for yourself. I've been offering $100 to anyone that knows 3 basic questions about the globe Earth. No one can get it. It's just to make the point that no one even knows what the Earth is supposed to be, but they think I'm crazy for not believing in it. So I'm going to take a break, but I want you guys to just know in conclusion, the Earth is a geocentric stationary plane. It's a fact. I've tested it. And so if it is, this is what that means. It had to be placed there. The Earth can't be immovable and fixed, stationary, and in the center of everything and just randomly be there. It had to be placed there. The entire sky revolves around the center point right over the center of the Earth. Everything is centralized to the Earth. The Earth is the center of everything that exists. So that means it was created. So I encourage you to maybe rethink your belief system if you think that everything came from nothing and you're a quote-unquote atheist, because that's ridiculous. And there's no such thing as an atheist, because you have to say you know for a fact that there is no God. No one would ever say that, if they're being honest. No one could possibly know for a fact that there's no God. You're agnostic. You don't know. It's okay, you can figure it out. Necessary and distinct creation is a creator. The Earth doesn't move. The Earth doesn't curve. And the Earth is not heliocentric going around the sun 66,600 miles per hour. It's stationary. In a world. Oh, hey guys. I'm not a fish monkey. I feel you, brother. Trying to read your comments. They're gonna try to get mad if I leave the sign. Yeah, what up, bro? I'm gonna read your chat on the other phone. I can't really even see
Talk
this.
off the mic a second.
What's
Me
up?
and you.
Yeah.
You know, I work with Fleepos over there.
You work with what?
I work with Fleepos over there.
Okay, what's up, bro?
Since 07,
Uh-huh.
we've had a DC, and there's groups all around the country called 9/11 Truth. Yeah, you might have heard of 9/11 Truth. And so I'm wondering,
He's not in there, is he?
how do you think 9/11 happened? What is your explanation of how 9/11 came to be?
Just a sec, brother.
Without me saying anything for or against what you're saying,
Yeah.
without trying to bias you or say what I know.
Okay,
I'm
give me
wondering
just a
what
second.
You've actually thought. I'm sure you thought about it.
Yeah. I will walk away from this phone to do it though, because I can't tell you what I think without it being kicked off of here.
Okay.
So now. Yeah.
That was the article I saw on what they were doing. Stuff about that. We'll get the newspaper.
19 errors of
That means
miracles happen.
miracles happen, bro.
They let you put things up if you're gonna go around and be
All right, what's up, guys? Yeah, I can't even say everything. You guys know how it be? Trying to get to some shade so I can see you guys. What up, what up? The gravy runneth over. Yeah. We went down way from the viewers we had earlier. Like when there's like large groups of people here, the teachers usually like rush the students away. They always just rush the students away, man. How dare you try to let them think for themselves. Rewinding to hear what that guy said. He asked me about 9/11 and I couldn't get specific with him because it'll get terminated. Because it's such a free country.
So I told him what I really thought away from the camera. You could preach at schools. Yeah, I hear there's some laws about that. I won't put you on camera if you don't want to. I tried. Yeah, it would be hard. I'm taking a breather, guys. Also, I want the phone to be in the shade so it cools down a little bit. I see a super chat. I'm sorry, I can't find it. We're gonna have to figure this out, though. Oh, I did find it. I found one of them. God bless your journey, brother. Thank you very much. God bless your journey. Again, for the support. Trying to find the next. I can't find any more. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really sorry. Hopefully, we'll get some mods in here that can keep up with them and like type them down or something and then tell me what they were. I can also check like Cash App and PayPal here in a little bit because I'm using a separate phone. So I can read those because they don't go away, you know. There's a millennial reign. Oh, there are children here again. Are those the same children? It's just like beaming hot out there, bro, and I'm sweating, man. So I need to get some water. Apparently the White House is under construction, so you're not allowed to walk up to it. Let me tell you guys a story about what happened earlier. So earlier we were sitting over there. We had our table set up. Who's this guy? Most interesting man on flat earth right here. So we had this, we were set up over there and we had our table set up. And then before we even turned the mic on, the cops converged on us and said we weren't allowed to have a table or an amplifying device. So I had to make them get their supervisor and remind them of what the First Amendment said. They tried to fight it and scare us. And then they said, okay, well, technically, if you're off of the sidewalk, then you're good. I said, my speaker doesn't fit there. He said, oh, that's good enough. That'll work. And then like 3 other groups of people came here with amplified sound. They didn't say anything to them. They just converged on us because we had a flat earth sign. What a joke. Yeah, this guy starts screaming, if you guys heard that. Oh, you guys didn't hear that. Yeah, I was explaining the genetic modification psyop, and this guy started screaming back that masks are good or something. I don't know. Oh, yeah, they're so awesome. I would never give medical advice. Not medical advice. Been here from the beginning if you need help. If you can see the top super chats, that would be great.
Yeah, because the West Wing is right next to us.
I put those flyers to use. We've been handing out cards and flyers and have a sign. When demons attack. Yeah, I have it all documented. I videotaped it on my phone, so I'll edit out a few of the V words and then I'll post it up. I reminded them that it went to Supreme Court and they can't have over 105 IQ. They didn't really like that. They thought it was funny. I said, I don't think it's that funny, you know. Personally, I don't find it funny that people run around with straps on their waist with like while they're incompetent.
The other side.
So we're about to get back on the mic because I see people here again.
We're at the side. I just don't know on what side.
Look at them, they're checking out the sign.
I feel like
The sign helps a ton because people don't feel like they have to engage, they can just read. The truth is that the earth is not a magic spinning cartoon ball that defies physics. I'm about to hit these people with the mark of the beast too. Uh-oh, look at Chris over here talking to the pentagram wearer. So many people reading the sign, taking pictures of it. Yeah, no. And they just naturally want to laugh at it, but they're like, whoa, I never thought of this. It's got like a few of the 200 proofs on there. I'll show you guys the sign in a second. Get them. Yeah, I want a sec, bro. I'm like legitimately tired. I'm like overheated. I'm sitting in the shade for a sec. All right, they're goners. I'm just gonna get on the mic because people think they're so smart, but they don't even understand the sign. What a joke. Here's the sign. Okay. Don't worry, I'll get back on the mic. In a world TV where no one knows what the world is, but it ain't going crazy for not believing fairy tales.
Bluetooth pairing.
Alright. I saw some people reading the sign, so I'm just gonna explain some of it. So they say the sun is 93 million miles away, and that it's actually 400 times bigger than the moon. They just look like they're the same size coincidentally, but it's also exactly 400 times further away than the moon. That's a cool story. You know what the other option is? They're the same size. They're local, they're smaller than they said, they move over top of us. So there's something called attenuation of light. The light gets absorbed into the atmosphere, light doesn't travel forever. So whenever the sun moves over top of you and sets, because it gets to where you can no longer see it. And then we have nighttime, it comes back around over top of us, and then we have daytime. Wow, it's really complicated. Or actually when you see it set, you're falling backwards 1,000 miles per hour and it just looks like that. I thought I was a conspiracy theorist. So there's something that happened. There was a supposed jump from space. Felix Baumgartner supposedly jumped from the edge of space, quote unquote, 128,000 feet up. Of course, that's nowhere close to what they even claim space is. They claim the Kármán line's at 62 miles. Okay. So he jumped from 128,000 feet up, and they show this picture where it shows that the Earth is curving. Okay, this was actually funded by Red Bull and GoPro. Really? GoPro has what's called a fisheye lens that imposes curvature. So what we did as flat earthers is we wanted to go see if that was true. So we sent a high altitude balloon up to 120,000 feet, and guess what the horizon was? Horizontal. That's convenient because that's what the word horizon means. It comes from the word horizontal. So anyway, we went up there and we tested it. It didn't look like they showed us on national TV when Felix Baumgartner jumped out of a little module supposedly from the edge of space. So then they sent Neil deGrasse Tyson out for damage control. Neil deGrasse Tyson is one of the mainstream scientific communicators of the world, one of the most famous ones there is. He came out and he said, a lot of people say that when Felix jumped out, you could see the curvature of the Earth. That isn't true. He pulled out a beach ball. He said, you'd be 2 millimeters off this beach ball. You would never see the curvature from that height. From that height, that stuff would be freaking flat. So why did they have to show us this curvature of Earth, supposedly from space, until we went and tested it, falsified it, then they had to come out and claim, oh, never mind, you wouldn't have seen the curvature. It's because they lied. How many times they gotta lie to you before you realize that they're lying? Typically when you're telling the truth, you don't have to lie a lot. They told us that the reason boats disappear over the horizon is because it's going over the curvature of the Earth. Actually, when the boat disappears over the horizon, you can bring it back into view by zooming in. So it disappears to the naked eye. You pull out binoculars, you can see it again, it'll disappear again, and you can pull out a P900 camera, zoom in, and you can see it again. The boat doesn't disappear because it goes over the curvature of the Earth. What do I have, X-ray vision? No. It's just you can't see forever, you reach a limit of perspective. When you increase your optical limit, you can see further. It's just like when artists draw something from distance, they make it converge, it's called perspective. Railroads don't actually converge into each other, it just looks like that in the distance. And when you look at the long end of a long hallway, that look like the ceiling and the floor converge. They don't actually converge. It just looks like that because of a limit of perspective. Things vanish in the distance. It's called angular resolution of the eyes, or whatever optical zoom you're using. So why, when I was in school, did I get this little TV rolled in with Bill Nye the Science Guy, who's literally not a scientist, he's just, you can look it up. And he told me, well, people used to think the Earth was flat. But then they saw that the boats go over the curvature of the Earth, and that's how we know the Earth's a ball. Well, literally, that's not why they disappear, because you can zoom back in and bring them back into view. So why did they have to lie about it to all the people in my 3rd grade science class? Yeah, take all the time you need. Why they have to lie about it? If they're telling the truth, why they gotta keep lying? They said they went to the moon in 1969. 1 in 3 Americans didn't believe in the moon landing at the time. Yeah, we still have people going around believing it right now. It's insane. They said they can't go back though. It's too dangerous. I thought they went back and forth 6 times from 69 to 72. Yeah.
Why are they lying about that?
Why are they lying? That's the question we get, is why would they lie?
Why would they lie?
Yeah, I do use this analogy a lot. If your girlfriend was cheating on you and I brought up a phone to you with I said, dude, I got bad news, your girl's cheating on you, here's a video of it. Would you say, I'm not looking at the evidence until you tell me why she lied, because she would never lie. You would look at the evidence and figure out why she cheated on you. But I'll tell you why I think they lied, because it's a speculative question. We give NASA $60 million every single day. But the government would never lie for money, huh? There's something called the Antarctic Treaty. Every single major world superpower in the world has agreed you can't travel past the 60th south latitude, but the government would never lie to hide land and resources, right? So we'll throw those two out. I told you that you're a tiny speck of dust in this ever-expanding universe. Everything came from nothing. But if the Earth is geocentric and stationary, which it provably is, that means it had to be put there because it's the center of everything. So either you can be atheist and believe in some tiny speck of dust, or you have to acknowledge, uh-oh, someone put the Earth there. If you know there's a creator, you're not as nihilistic, which means apathetic, not to care about anything, materialistic, nihilistic. You're much harder to control if you're not nihilistic. That's why they gave fluoride to people in the concentration camps. It makes them docile. You're easier to give orders if you don't believe there's a creator.
So you think this is true because of religious reasons?
No. I used to think that scriptures were the dumbest thing ever until I found out the Earth was flat. So I found out the Earth was flat before I even got to the truth of the creator.
Okay, so you believe in the Bible?
I believe in the scriptures, but the English translations are all messed up and all doctrines are wrong and all of the religions are wrong.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you, man. Have a good one.
So the Bible says that the Earth is a globe.
The Bible does not say the Earth's a globe.
It spins on its axis on nothing.
All right. So
The Bible says the Old Testament.
that's not true. So I would love for you to show. Okay, so there's actually over 200 Bible verses that explain the Earth doesn't move and is flat and has a firmament. In Genesis, it says there's a firmament. It comes from the Hebrew word rakia, right? It's impenetrable. Much love, bro. Thank you, brother. So the Earth actually says the Earth's immovable and fixed, is what the Bible says. In Psalms and Job, Isaiah, etc. Immovable and fixed. That doesn't mean spinning and then orbiting. Right? You have to actually bend the scripture to say it's a ball. It also says the Earth takes shapes like clay under a sill. So, kings used to sign their letters with a sill. They would press down the clay, right? So it flattens out and takes shape of whatever it is that you press down it. It says the Earth takes shape like clay under a sill. It also says there are corners of the Earth. There aren't corners on a ball. It also says there are pillars of the Earth with a foundation. There aren't pillars on a ball. Again, it says there's a firmament. They say that you're in a space vacuum. It says he uses the Earth as a footstool. Can't do that on a spinning, orbiting ball. So the Bible is 100% a fire book, as is every other ancient depiction ever. You name it. The only religion that claims the Earth's a ball is Scientology and Mormonism, who says that Jesus, which wasn't his real name, and Satan or Lucifer are actually brothers. And then, well, Jesus just won this planet, and you're a god. And if you turn to a god, then you get your own planet. I happen to know planets don't exist. So, the Earth is provably, the Bible is provably a geocentric stationary plane Earth book. There's only over 200 Bible verses that explain it. So when it says the Earth's immovable and fixed and shall never move from its foundations, you have to say that means it's spinning and revolving. The Bible doesn't prove the Earth is flat. The Earth proves the Earth is flat. It just proves that the scriptures are actually Bible. The Earth's not flat. I'll give you $100 if you can answer 3 questions about the globe Earth. So, about the globe Earth. $100. Okay. First one's super easy. How many times does the globe Earth spin every 24 hours? Yeah, 1 time is right. Guys, you can't help him out though. All right, but he also got a dumb phone in his hand that has Google. All right, I'm gonna need you to stop looking at your phone, bro. That question is for everyone to get. It's just to get you over here. Okay, so what's the circumference of the Earth?
In miles?
Yes.
25,000.
Hey man, can you chill? That's pretty close.
That's my other kid.
It's 24,901. 24,901. How long have you been here? Have you heard me say all the answers already?
No, I just showed up.
How far away is the sun?
Oh, it's a long way. I'm not sure. Light years.
No, it's not light years away.
92 million.
Too late.
My kids are smarter than
Yeah, you're right. They know the pseudoscience. You know what? I'll give you another chance. Do you know what axis tilt the Earth is on? No, 23.4. I would have gave you $100 if you got it right then. 16 is not close to 23 out of 90. By the way, 23.4 also means we're on a 66.6 degree tilt, while we're going 66,600 miles per hour around the sun, while we have a 0.666 feet per mile square curvature rate. That's just a coincidence though, probably. You guys sound like coincidence to this. If you have any questions, I'll answer any and all questions. I debate astrophysics professors. They can't answer my questions. How's it feel being dumb? Well, it's like if I go into church and you tell me you believe in the Bible, but you've never read Genesis before. I'm like, okay, you just sound like a zealot to me. I actually read your book. I know everything about it. Do you know what the theory of relativity is? That's the current rhetoric for gravity that keeps your entire fairy tale together. You don't even know what the glue of it is. Well, the theory of relativity says that gravity is the effect of the bending and warping of space and time. Space and time are concepts. Can you bend freedom? No, of course not. It's a concept. It's called a reification fallacy. With achieving physical properties to concepts, misplaced concreteness is not viable, or it's actually inadmissible on its face. It gets even worse than that, though. When we apply the theory of relativity to the supposed universe, guess what happened? It was off by 95%. No, it wasn't 95% correct. It was off by 95%. So I'm crazy for not believing in a fairy tale you haven't even theoretically postulated mathematically yet. You can't even make the math work. And by the way, math doesn't prove things. I've seen an equation that shows how Superman can fly. Superman's not real. So the truth is, you can't even mathematically show how the Earth could be a ball yet. I was the crazy one. It's off by 95%. It's called dark energy and dark matter. What's up? When did I first believe the Earth was flat? I actually don't believe the Earth is flat. I know it's flat. I hate belief, but that's a bit semantical. I found out the Earth was flat 5 years ago. That was before it was censored. So whenever you would type in Star Trails Flat Earth, you get a real video. And if you type in Flat Earth, you get nothing but like misinformation. People telling you why the Earth isn't flat. I found out about 5 years ago. I've been testing the Earth ever since.
Dude, what happened?
Was there a moment? For me, I already knew the moon landing was fake. Personally.
The White House, there it is.
Just a sec, brother. So I already knew that the moon landing was fake. So whenever I found out they claimed that's the only real picture of the Earth from space was from the 1972 moon missions, I was like, uh-oh, something's not adding up. Then I found out that the sky resets for all recordable history in the same spot over and over and over and over. And I was like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. We're supposed to be spinning 1,000 miles per hour, going 66,000 miles per hour on the sun, shooting 500,000 miles per hour, shooting 1.3 million miles per hour in the galaxy. So I was like, oh, the sky wouldn't just keep resetting for thousands of years. That makes no sense. That's where it clicked for me. And then I just had to keep testing it. You know, I didn't just blindly believe it at that point. I just thought, oh, maybe they lied. Oh, and then I found out about the Antarctic Treaty, where they don't let you go past the 60th south latitude, where Antarctica is. This would prove the Earth's a ball, right? You could just circumnavigate it, come back up on the other side. Every country in the world agreed it's illegal for us to do that. So that's what clicked for me. Oh, yeah. No, it was online, then I went out and tested the Earth itself. I went and made long-distance observations. The curvature is supposed to be anyway. Yeah, I go to some of them, yeah. Yep, they're pretty cool. They normally get infiltrated. What's up? Satellite images, that's a good question. They admit that they're not real pictures, they're composite images. So they just stitch together different pictures over a flat Earth. They admit they're not real. A direct quote from NASA.gov is, for the blue marble, like the most infamous picture of the Earth ever, the blue marble. It was the default wallpaper on iPhones when they first came out. This is a direct quote from NASA.gov. It says, we stitch together pictures over a flat matte surface, wrap it around the ball, bring an artist in, and make them do an artist rendition to match what the observer expects it to look like. That artist is quoted as saying verbatim, "Of course it's photoshopped, it has to be." So they admit they're not real pictures, that they're just computer generated and photoshopped. So I don't believe in cartoons from the government. Also, by the way, just so you know, numerous quote-unquote satellites have crashed from the sky attached to balloons. They're called satelloons. You can look up satelloons on NASA.gov. There's something called the Google Loon Project, and we had to give internet to people in remote areas. We had to put them on balloons. They've been seen crashing out of the sky numerous times. NASA buys more helium than everyone else in the world. They buy 90% of the world's helium supply. So they just put balloons up there. Good one. That's a good question. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, let me explain it to you. So Isaiah 40:22 says that he sits over the circle of the earth. Well, a few verses later, Isaiah uses a different Hebrew word for ball. There's two different words for circle and ball in Hebrew. That proves that he wasn't calling the earth a ball. He called it a circle. Well, you know, the earth can be round and not a ball, right? A quarter's round, right? Yeah. So there's a circle within corners. So the earth definitely is not depicted as a ball in the scriptures. How'd they fake the moon landing? They just did a studio in like New Mexico. I mean, I'm not sure exactly where, but yeah, it's easy to fake it. The shadows don't even line up. It was obviously in a studio. Yeah, that's the excuse. That's the excuse they make. That you couldn't have done like Photoshop and stuff back then. Sure, yeah. What's it called? Corridor Crew. Okay. Cool, yeah. I got you. I know for a fact that we didn't go to the moon. They said that we went in 1969 and we just can't go back because we destroyed the technology and accidentally lost all the telemetry data, and then we gave different country moon rocks. They tested them and they were just petrified wood. So why would you have to claim that there were moon rocks that were actually petrified wood? You don't have to lie a lot when you're telling the truth. Of course, we brought Nazis over here to do this, so I guess we're just too out of Nazis to go back. They say it's too dangerous. No, that's what they claim. It's just a joke. Yeah, that was done. Okay, so anyway, Operation Paperclip brought Nazi scientists over here. I thought that we hated Nazis. I thought they'd kill millions of people. Well, we couldn't go to space without the Nazis, apparently. SS officer Nazi of the Nazi regime, Warner Van Braun, took us to space, quote unquote. Yeah. 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 Okay. Yeah, let me try to recap your question. If we can't believe that the Earth is a ball, then we really can't believe anything, and that's basically a foundation, and now we're getting into scary territory. Yeah, it is elementary. You should have learned all of this, but you never did because they didn't teach it to us. It's very elementary that water finds its level and that pressure fills the available space. That's elementary basic laws of physics. But anyway, so use the word believe over and over. I don't believe in things. I don't blindly believe in things. The only thing I believe in is my Father, and I happen to know that He's real in heaven. So I wouldn't even call that a belief. The problem is that we blindly believe in fairy tales the government told us. I see what you're saying, though. It's a big red pill, and then it makes you have to question everything else, because if they hid the nature of the Earth, that means these governments work together. They're not actually enemies. That's pretty uncomfortable fact to accept. I really can't do anything about conformality. The truth is they lied, bro. And so what you'll find out is you have to empirically validate anything you're going to believe. You can't blindly believe the government. They lie about everything. They started the Vietnam War by attacking ourselves and claimed Vietnam did it. They declassified and admitted that we attacked ourselves. So, were the ancient Greeks on this conspiracy? That's a good question, I guess. That's pretty arrogant undertone. What they tell you is that the Greeks are the ones that found out that the Earth is a ball. This actually comes from Neoplatonism. You'll find out. I've researched all this, and you guys haven't, but it's all good. It's called Neoplatonism, which is the idea that the perfect shape is a sphere. It was actually an ontological premise, which means philosophical, metaphysical. It's a religion. They thought that since the perfect shape was a sphere, the Earth had to be a sphere. What you'll look up and find how they proved it, quote unquote, is something called Aristophanes, where they stuck sticks in the ground and they measured the shadows and it proved the Earth was a ball, and they found the circumference. What they actually had to do was assume a distant sun in parallel rays and assume that the Earth was a ball. If you assume the Earth is local, a local light source with divergent rays, which is all we ever observed, or called corpuscular rays, you get the exact same results. Also, there's no primary documentation Aristophanes even did this. In addition, in the Greek civilization, the people that proposed the Earth was a ball were a very small minority, and the rest of the entire world knew the Earth was a geocentric stationary plane. They were the only people that thought it wasn't. And then it evolved into another ontological premise by Aristotle saying that space was a privation. The idea of emptiness is literally a religion. The Greeks, who also had pedophiles, by the way, that was normalized in society, they had little apprentices, little boys. So I just don't trust psychopathic pedophiles that make up stories. You shouldn't trust me, that's what I'm saying. You should go test it yourself. You can get the most technology outpace the law. There's something called the Nikon P900 and the Nikon P1000, the highest commercially available zoom that exists. I utilize them all the time. You can zoom in and see if the curvature is where it's supposed to be. It's not. We have an observation in France where the mountains are over 200 miles away. They should be hidden by 1 mile of Earth curvature. A mile of vertical obstruction. We see the mountain from top to bottom. You can test the Earth. Yeah, like if you walk up to a mound of dirt, you can't see through it to the other side. The Earth is supposed to be doing this if it's a ball. It supposedly has a radius of 3959, so you use geometry. That means the curvature of the Earth should be at 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That means 1 foot off the surface of the Earth, you should see the curvature of the Earth at 1.225 miles. No further than that. It can be less than that, it can be no further than that. That's the maximum extension of the radius. We have an observation 1 foot off the surface of the Earth off the coast of Cali where the horizon's over 10 miles away. That would require the radius to be 264,000 miles. No, yeah, I mean, it's a topographical plane, you know, like we have mountains and valleys and stuff like that. Yeah, Earth's flat. It's 70% water. Fluid stacks necessitates water finds its level. There's $1 million reward for anybody that can actually show water bending around the outside of a ball and sticking to it. No one's been able to get the money. Yeah, I've heard of gravity. I know all about it. That's what's holding the water? Really? Can you define gravity? Because since I'm supposed to believe in it, do you know what it is? Okay, do you know what it is? Okay, so actually gravity is no longer mass attracting mass. That was superseded over 100 years ago. You're 100 years behind. It's actually the theory of relativity now, which is that gravity is the effect of the bending and warping of space-time. It's not an intrinsic property of matter anymore. It is now the effect of the bending and warping of space-time. I've already shown you that it's been debunked and applied to the universe itself by 95%. In addition to that, why does helium go up then? It's because helium is lighter than the air around it. It's called density disequilibrium. I guess butterflies and helium are gravity proof. The truth is that if something's more dense, it goes down. If it's less dense, it goes up. If I take a beach ball and I throw it up in the air, it falls down. It's because it's more dense than the air. If I take the same beach ball and goes into a pool and I let go of it, it goes up. It's because it's more dense. The density is more dense. The water is more dense. Privatized space programs, that's a decent question. I think that pretty clearly that people stopped believing in the moon landing. We're only had 3 Americans at the time. We stopped believing in NASA and the government. I'm still talking, bro. And so what we found out, they found out that people don't really believe in the government that much, so they had to come up with a front that private companies go. So most people invoke SpaceX. I've documented 2 of their launches this year. SpaceX actually gets hundreds of millions of dollars of grants from the government every year. And Elon is on record saying we would have never gone to space without NASA. So it's just an extension of NASA. Elon wants to put a chip in your brain. Here's a little side note for you. The crazy psychopathic Nazi, Werner von Braun, that we put in charge of space exploration, he wrote a science fiction book in the 50s. You can look this up yourself. The main character's name is Elon, and what he does in the book is he founds the first civilization on Mars. Yeah, that's a coincidence. He was a prophet too, I guess, when he wasn't busy killing people. Something Mars, something just look up Werner von Braun. It's hard to top the flat earth. People think that's pretty crazy, but no, I don't believe in mainstream things typically. I mean, it's whatever I can verify. I don't believe in anything. I have to have empirical evidence. Operation Mockingbird has been declassified. The CIA admits they took over the media. It's called Operation Mockingbird, so I don't believe mainstream media. They admitted that they infiltrated it with agents to control the public narrative so that it was complicit with the geopolitical agenda at the time. And that was in the 70s, declassified Operation Mockingbird. I don't have a degree. I dropped out of college. That must mean the Earth's a ball. I went to college for business administration and private school full ride. Yeah, I debate astrophysics professors. It's 5v1.
Nike, what are you doing?
The weakest part of my argument.
Sign in there. Oh, no.
Where is it? You got to pick an article part of your argument.
Well,
That you're least confident in.
Well, I've actually done this very intellectually tactical, so I only make claims that are empirical, not a weak argument, right? I say the Earth's geocentric because it is. I say the Earth is stationary because it is. I say the Earth is a plane because it is. Like, one of the main things people do is they know a bunch of fairy tales about space, so they come up there and say, oh yeah? Then what is the moon? And I can't tell you exactly what the moon is, so that must mean the Earth's a ball. So I would say the weakest, if I'm being honest, is just that we can't go up to space, quote unquote, and verify the actual nature of the life in the sky. Where? I'll check it out, but I know the moon landing was fake. I know. No, space violates the second law of thermodynamics. You know what that is? That's all good, dude. I'm not gonna put you on the spot like that. I'll tell you. So, entropy will always increase, and systems spontaneously seek equilibrium. High pressure migrates to low pressure. Heat migrates to cold. It's called the second law of thermodynamics. You couldn't have a pressurized system adjacent to a near perfect vacuum of 10 to the negative 17 torr. The pressure would fill the available space. The necessary antecedent, fancy word for requirement. The requirement for pressure is containment. It's actually in the word pressure. It has to press on the walls of a container. Pressure is the energy exerted on the walls of a container. So the only way that you're alive breathing oxygen is that it's contained. It couldn't be sitting in a vacuum. So space as is defined is literally impossible. So no, you can't go there. And actually there's declassified military documents called Operation Fishbowl within Operation Dominique. They shot missiles in the air and they exploded around 60 miles. So they can't go there. What do I do for a living right now? I do this. I actually own a business, but I took a break because people need to know the truth, and people are walking around getting ready to get genetically modified, and I've been kicked off of YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, PayPal, Venmo. So the only way I can get the word out is to go out into the world and tell people.
What about TikTok?
I haven't used TikTok yet. A lot of people say I should. Yeah, oh. It's all good. I'm used to that. See, what actually happens is people project their intellectual insecurity, and when they're ignorant of the subject, they want to try to project it onto me. But the truth is, I know all about it. I would love to be a ball earther because I had to lose a 6-figure job offer just to do this.
What do you know about the ice wall?
Oh, good question. What about the ice wall? So,
People say Antarctica,
yeah.
no one could go there, and they put flags on every major developed country has a flag.
Yeah. It's called the Antarctic Treaty. It was signed in the 50s. Yeah, within 1 year of NASA being founded, probably a coincidence. So something happened called Operation High Jump. The military went and explored in the 40s, past the 6th latitude, and then after that, we signed the Antarctic Treaty and founded NASA. They said, don't worry about exploring the Earth, look at space, here are fairy tales. But here, someone circumnavigated the Earth, or attempted to. His name is Captain Cook. He went for 60,000 miles, and all I did was see ice the entire way. So there's an ice shelf that's higher that contains the water. That's convenient because fluid stat necessitates water be contained. That's what it is. No one in the world that's a flat earther thinks you fall off. That's dumb. Yeah, circumnavigation east to west happens daily. It happens the same on a flat earth. So if you use a compass, which is how we navigate, it points to the magnetic center or the north, and then east and west updates relative to the north as you come around, and you'll come back in a full circle back where you started, east and west. The one that's impossible on a flat earth is north to south circumnavigation, and again, it's literally illegal to try to do that.
So sorry, what? You were like Native American, you wanted to go Russia. You can't travel that way?
You can't go over the center. You can't go within 500 miles of each direction of the North Pole either. Oh, just another question. You mean, can you go to Russia? Yeah, like if this is the center, you can, like, if you're going east, the compass will face north. As you start to go around it, it'll update north the whole time. So your east updates relative to the center, and you'll come back around to where you started.
So what's keeping the water in place here, right?
The ice shelf that contains it.
Ice shelf.
I just told you that someone tried to circumnavigate the Earth, and all they did was go around 60,000 miles of ice shelf stuck in it.
Planes, you talk to them, they go different certain routes.
Yeah, exactly. These are on the signs too. Planes don't even do the actual paths that would be required on a globe. If you look at the globe map, they go like way out of their way and come back. You look at it on a flat map, it's a straight line. It would increase the path by like 4 or 5 hours. It's because they have to. It's the fastest way to go. Yeah, it's over there. What's that?
What do you know about chemtrails?
Well, I know about chemtrails, yeah. The government actually declassified cloud seeding to modify the weather, so it's very real. The government admits they do it. It's to for weather modification purposes. Yeah, I mean, so it's very simple. Look, dude, the curvature of the Earth is supposed to be 8 inches per
You
mile square.
realize, I mean, how does society function when 99.99% of everybody is ignorant on this subject, and most of them, and there's a large portion of the people who need to know that the Earth is being built in order to do their job. I mean, how does society?
Who needs to know the Earth's a globe to do their job?
Pilots.
Pilots literally have to assume the Earth isn't spinning and that the Earth is flat to even fly. Every single plane, by the way, that's why they're called planes, because they fly over planes. They have to assume the Earth's a flat, non-rotating surface. It's literally thousands of documents declassified by the military themselves. To even fly military aircraft, you have to assume the Earth's a flat, non-rotating surface. We also use a map that's on a flat map projection. Whenever we have to go get the bad guys in the military, we use a centralized location of our location and map out a flat topographical alignment to find the bad guy. Literally never when the military has to do something where people's lives are at stake do they assume the Earth's a spinning ball, because they would never ever be able to accomplish the task. Planes do not assume the Earth's a ball. That's patently false. People just say that. I just explained to you how flights happen that are impossible on globe Earth. How many people are in on it? Well, there's something called compartmentalization. Only one governmental agency in America even claims to go, that's NASA. It's called compartmentalization. You're on a need-to-know basis in the military. So there's a handful of people, only 24 people in the history of mankind have even claimed to go past low Earth orbit. Are 24 people lie? I think so. I think 24 people could lie.
We got like millions of scientists. Some of them got it out.
Yeah, see, all the quote-unquote scientists, they assume the Earth's a ball. They don't think that it's flat, so they're trying to figure out theories that fit within that confinement, and they can't do it. Again, it's called dark matter, dark energy. They can't even explain the globe Earth. Harvard, Stanford, Yale, they can't even explain the magnetic field on a globe Earth yet. Because there's something called the Curry Point. The metals they claim that are at the center of the Earth, they actually lose their magnetic capability over a certain temperature, and they claim the temperature of the core is higher than that. I've actually read all of these and debated people from these schools. I debated an Ivy League professor before. Dark matter and dark energy are just the occupants of majority of the universe. There's some type of substance behind what they claimed was nothing. So it's just an unidentified term. Dark matter is not even identified. It's just the area outside the localized solar system that they can't explain mathematically. Is unidentified. It's called dark because we don't know, matter because we assume it's material. Is it what's creating the universe? Well, the truth is, there's something called like the ether that was hidden, but there's a medium around us. There's not like just the material world. There's something beyond that. Quantum physics has also actually even showed this, and they say particles popping in and out of existence are nothing. So simply, not to get too technical, there's a medium around us that you can't see. There's a metaphysical medium. That's why we have intuition. We can't see everything. Our eyes only see a certain amount of vibration. Yeah, there's no ether? Yeah. How is ether disproven, do you know? Oh, Michelson Morley. This guy kind of knows what's up. Let me explain to you what actually happened to Michelson Morley. I'm glad. So what they did was you'll find that you're not going to be able to ask a question I don't know, dude. It's because I researched this. It's not because I'm a genius, it's just because I researched. No, I know. Okay, so Michelson Morley was the right answer. I'm impressed that you even knew that. But yeah, Michelson Morley, they shot perpendicular light rays and they attempted to measure what's called a phase shift, a difference in the perpendicular light rays. Okay, assuming the Earth was spinning and revolving, there had to be a certain amount of deviation of the light. They did not experience this, so what they had was two options: either throw out the ether or assume the Earth was spinning and revolving. Guess which one they did? They threw out the ether, and then they absorbed something called the Lorentz contraction. And then they said the apparatus itself was actually contracting, you just couldn't see it, and that's why nothing changed, because everything is relative, and the theory of relativity was born from that. 1987, the Air Force redid it, got the same results.
All wars are just contrived, all governments collaborate. Cold War was a hoax. Is that what you think?
Are all wars contrived? Pretty much all of them, yeah. I mean, I can't say all of them are, but I can say one thing. The Vietnam War is declassified to be Cold War. Well, I don't know. They talk about nuclear bombs to scare you, in my opinion. We can also talk about that. People really get triggered when I say nuclear bombs or pseudoscience. Yeah. I wish you luck on like actually opening up your mind and looking into the information instead of attacking people when they're more informed than you. Believe it or not, they don't let flat earthers into Stanford to be professors. Because you wouldn't, literally like all peer-reviewed studies, you have to walk the line to even get the funding. And then there's the same thing with like global warming, quote unquote. They changed the climate change, which is painfully redundant. Climate's change, that's what the word climate means. If you give any type of reading that isn't consistent with that narrative, they'll stop funding you. We don't live in a free country.
create forces yourself. Say like, even if it's like to prove to the chair of the board, like, hey, like this is as if the flat Earth theory is real, then they would let you do that.
Yeah, I've already been all over the internet knowing that the Earth is flat, my man. I get death threats. So would I be able to just walk up and become a physicist and then write reports that are publicly publicized saying that theoretically we'll talk about the flat Earth? No. I mean, that's not a bad idea. We should find some people that kind of sneak in like that. They won't accept you. They won't even peer review you. So you have to assume the Earth's a ball to even like get out any type of scientific term. Yeah. I'm saying that isn't a bad idea. I can't do it because I've been all over the internet already saying the Earth is flat. They would never, ever, ever fall for it. So you mean I'd have to lie and say I went back to the ball? I would never do that. No, that's called dishonesty, bro. I don't lie. I'd have to lie to say I think the Earth's a ball, bro.
I'm saying, like, you don't have to say that you really believe you should do the force work and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I'm not real big on going hundreds of $1,000s in debt for a piece of paper where I still can't get a job to pay my debt. It's a scam. Why can't these astrophysics professors debate me? I dropped out of college. Something's not adding up. They literally can't debate me. I debate them 5v1. They mute me, interrupt me, hit me with fallacies, but they always debate me because they know that they want to see if they can beat me, but they can't. And it's not really even their fault. They're trying to debate something that's literally not real. So for me, I'm just going to do what I do. That's good.
But what I'm saying is, like, imagine that's where it's at, where you have conventions, and imagine like 10 years, people are actually, you know, like even like 1% of the population believes it. That's millions of people.
Dude, tens of millions of people already think the Earth is flat. That's why it's censored. There's 10 million flat earthers in Brazil alone, my man.
But there's no formal academics like arguing these points.
No, because you're not allowed to. You'll get kicked out of higher academia. That's why it's funded by the government, dude. It's just are you kidding me? Like, the government doesn't let you say anything that doesn't toe the line. By the way, I think they eventually absorbed the flat Earth because you can only hide so long. Like, time to do those when they got another deception ready for you. I don't know. Maybe they'll have to do with these UFOs. UFOs are real, yeah. I've seen 7 in one night, but they don't come from like intergalactic civilizations. UFO technologies existed. Actually, even like ancient civilizations depicted them, but in the 30s, the Germans had them. It's documented. They just use electromagnetism. I think that they even say they actually come out of the oceans when they come out with this report. If you didn't know, like, they had a 180-day deadline to come out with all UFO-related phenomena. The Pentagon's deadline was up June 1st. So they're going to start drip-feeding truth about UFOs. Like, wow, dude, we've known about that for a long time. Georgia Guidestones. Yeah, but you're just smart.
I like everything's orchestrated.
Oh, yeah.
And what the masses know, what they want.
Yeah. I actually went to the Georgia Guidestones and documented it twice a few months ago. The first thing it says is maintain human population under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Supposedly there's over 8 billion people. How does that happen? Maybe the last year is making a little bit more sense. Yeah, because people are starting to just blindly comply to genetic modification. I can't say the real words. I got kicked off YouTube. Can't even say that word. Yeah, if I get struck one more time, I get terminated. Yeah. So anyway, nah, it's my homies from Cali. We're just traveling the U.S. Nah, I'm from Tennessee, from Cali. West Tennessee. Oh, you did? Sweet. Yeah, no, it sounds like when I first heard that, it was the craziest thing I ever heard in my life. Yep. Yeah, literally nothing. The Bible's definitely a flat earth book. But every ancient civilization knew what the earth was, and they were actually more advanced than we are, by the way. Or not, maybe not than we are, just in a different way. Yeah, they were way more advanced than we've been told. They had free energy. We still use like energy with loss. We're like archaic compared to them. And they knew what the earth was. Yeah, actually, God is the Babylonian deity for which I don't use that word anymore. It's what's on the back of your dollar, but yeah, he's the creator. His name is Jehovah. Yeah. Yeah, Yeshua is the Messiah's actual name. Yah is the poetic shortened version of Yehovah. So I say Yah a lot. His name is Yehoshua, shortened. Today's didn't exist in the 1400s. I've never seen another book with their main character's name lied about, and they changed his birth date, and they changed all of the translations. There's only one thing they lied about, it's because it's the truth. Yeah, much love. Gish Gab, yeah. That's not in any way applicable. Gish Gab is when you're in a debate and you just start scattering different ideas, trying to confuse the audience. I'm not doing that, so can okay. So. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, we get it. You can't debate it. Anyway, Austin. Yeah, I don't get my last name out because the people that work underground over there already try to intimidate me a couple times. I need to do. Yeah, and since you brought the Georgia Guidestones, pretty interesting. I'll tell you what that's really about. I want to document it. Yeah. So, yeah. So the top capstone of the Georgia Guidestones is written in Babylonian cuneiform. Okay, so it's all about getting back to a Babylonian civilization. Okay, the story of Babel, if you ever heard, they had one language, and then Yah came down, confounded the languages to confuse them so they couldn't finish the tower. But one of the rules on the Georgia Guidestones is connect the world with a new single living language. So they're literally trying to rebuild Babylon. That's what the Georgia Guidestones are about. It also says guide reproduction guides are wisely, which is just a fancy way of saying we're eugenics, deciding who can have children. Once again, the last years to make a little more sense now. Yeah, so, yeah. Also, funny thing about the Georgia Guidestones, it would only work if the Earth wasn't moving. It's a clock, a calendar, and a compass. Most people don't even know that, but it's got a little diagonal hole that's 24 inches cut that line up with Polaris. Yeah, year round. That's how you know north is. So it's a compass. It has a horizontal slat cut in the top of it, where every single day at noon, it's right lined up with it. That's how you know it's 12 o'clock. So it's a clock. No, I think they lied about the timeline a lot. If you look at the anthropological evidence of the Exodus, they always find the evidence and they're like, oh, it's the wrong timeline. They added like 100 years just because of that area alone. So I think that our timeline's about 1,000 years off, personally. Yeah, but people can't handle that rapidly usually. Yeah, the calendar's wrong. Of course, the Gregorian Julian calendar's dumb anyway. That's why it has to keep being updated and we have leap years. It doesn't work. The sky just resets. I think there's a dome, yeah. Because the scriptures say that there's a firmament stretched out like a tent over top of us, and we're like grasshopper inhabitants inside of it. You can scientifically prove there's something up there because we have gas pressure, like something has to be physically containing it. But yeah, I think it's definitely a dome. There's also something called a coffee cup caustic. If you take a dome and you put light on the outside of it, it'll shine all the way around and it'll be light around the whole thing. Well, and quote unquote in Antarctica, there's like daylight for like 24 hours, but you don't see the sun light. So it would happen because the dome reflects it. Also, there's a rainbow, right? So he gave us the rainbow so we would know that he's not going to flood the earth again. The modern church says it's just because it's pretty or something, I don't know. But it's actually because you have to have a reflective surface to have a rainbow. So when you see the rainbow fully connected, it's showing you that the gates opened up to flood, but they're closed. And since you see it fully connected, he's promising you, like, look, it can't flood right now because the firmament's closed. Yeah, straight up. You can't have a reflective surface. It's literally impossible. There's definitely a container up there. Yeah, they hate to believe that NASA's fake, but most people know the government lies. That's what blows my mind. Like, you think that NASA's the one governmental agency that didn't lie to us? The ones that brought Nazis over here? Now, some people blindly believe the government doesn't lie. There's not really much I can do for that. They admit they lie, you know what I'm saying? They started a Vietnam War. They admitted that they started it. They came out and told the American public, look, the Gulf of Tonkin, exactly. Vietnam attacked our ship. Now we have to go start a war with them. And the truth of the matter is we attacked our own ship to make it look like that, and the military's come out and admitted that since then.
So that LBJ can get the funding in Congress to start that war.
Yeah, also they got tons of opium from the Himalayan foothills.
Oh yeah, that was George.
CIA is the biggest trafficker of drugs in the world. Underground tunnels. Yeah, there are deep underground military bases. They're called domes. They're declassified also. They're all over the place. Yeah. Most people have never read any of this and they want to think you're crazy, but really the truth of the matter is what the government's been up to is just crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is crazy. Trust me. But all I do is read what they say and look at the empirical evidence. They took over the media. Operation Mockingbird tells you that they control the media. Yeah.
No, long way.
Yep.
That way, yep. Go ahead.
Yeah. Dude, the truth is, the actual truth is,
I'm one of those people.
By listening to him, or did you believe him before you listened?
Oh, way before you.
yeah, she already knows good stuff and stuff that you didn't know the answers to. What's my end result? I just want people to know they've been lied to about the Earth. We shouldn't blindly believe the government, and if the Earth is geocentric and stationary, geocentric is just a fancy word for the center of everything. That means it was created. And so everyone should get right with the Creator because He loves you, He made you special, you have a spirit, you didn't evolve from rocks and apes, that's dumb, and He cares about you. And Yeshua was real. They call Him Jesus, that wasn't His name. He's the most historically accurate figure to ever exist. And the Scripture is the most historically accurate compliment that exists. Yeshua, which is shortened for Yehoshua. Jesus is actually a Talmudic curse on His name. May His name and remembrance be blotted out, is what it means. It's according to the Talmud. I think that the Creator supersedes Him. I think there's still power in that name, but that wasn't His name. Jesus actually comes from Yeshu, which means may His name and remembrance be blotted out. It's a curse, but it doesn't matter. It comes from the Talmud, the Babylonian Talmud. Jason, yeah, exactly. Jason exists till like the 1400s, so how could His name be Jesus? But, you know, that's whatever. No, you can look it up in the actual ancient Hebrew. It's Yehoshua. A shortened abbreviation would be Yeshua. An accurate English translation would be Joshua. And it's always Yah because it ends with Yah, right? So His name actually means salvation in Yah. Salvation in Yah. So that's why they hid, so you wouldn't know. It's called Hallelujah. That's the Creator's name. Yeah, so the Scriptures are literally true. And so you asked me what the end game is. I just want people to realize they don't have to blindly believe the government. Think for yourself. When I was young, I was like, oh, you tell me the Creator of all things wrote this book called the Bible, but He doesn't even know what He created. It didn't really add up to me. Then I found out, whoa, they lied about the earth. Now it makes sense. Yeshua came to the earth so that He could fulfill the law perfectly. Of course, fulfill doesn't mean do away with. He said, do not think I came to abolish, but rather to fulfill. He lived the Torah exactly right. He didn't sin one time, and therefore He was able to be our atonement. He's basically a bridge to the Father. He just goes on our behalf, and He's like, you know, He represents us. He's effectively our lawyer. Salvation comes from the Father. Yeshua came to be our atonement. Who's saved? Whoever accepts salvation through the intercessor and mediator Yeshua and gets right with the Father. You have to actually follow the instructions. Well, you don't have to get your salvation. Works doesn't earn your salvation. It's just evidence that your salvation is real. So you'll stop sinning, you'll repent, you'll change your life. That's how you're saved. Who's saved? I'm not the arbitrator of salvation, that's the Father, but men have overcomplicated it. Religion sucks, in my opinion. It's just a bunch of different denominations arguing about, you know, different stuff they made up in their opinions. I wouldn't encourage people going to church on Sunday, some worship days, that's my opinion. But you can actually go talk to the Father yourself. It's a personal relationship. You don't have a religion with your Father, you have a relationship with your Father, same thing with the Creator.
So, but the church, then on Sunday, right?
No. See, the Sabbath is actually Saturday, and that's after the Roman Catholic Church absorbed the Scriptures, and then they came up with the word Christianity. They started meeting on Sundays because the Romans had a practice of a sun festival worship on Sundays. So they absorbed quote-unquote Christianity into the polytheistic pagan culture of the time. And since they already took off work and partied and turned up on the Sundays, they changed it from the seventh day to the first day. This is actually admitted in the Catechism, Catholic Catechism. Yeah, the Sabbath is actually Saturday. What's up? You can worship every day, brother. All the Sabbath means you're supposed to rest.
Right. The original Sabbath, according to Jewish custom, is Saturday. But Christians celebrate or worship on Sunday because Jesus rose from the dead on Sunday.
Yeah, did he? I don't think there's actually evidence of that. You got Friday 3 days doesn't even equal Sunday, but You got Saturday, Sunday, Monday. But
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
they say that the Sabbath will never be changed. It's the last day.
Say 72 hours. 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay, yeah. So it's just a doctrine of men people made up trying to assume that they can switch it over. The Roman Catholic Church said, but the scripture teaches that the Sabbath will never be changed and that he created the earth in 6 days. I couldn't tell you, I wasn't there. It doesn't, okay, if you want to think that. It doesn't actually specify how long it was. So, you just remembering the doctrine is okay, I was raised Baptist, I know how it goes. Religion sucks. Yeshua hated religion. All Yeshua did the whole time was rebuke all the religious leaders. He said, look at all these stupid laws you're making up where people don't even want to follow me. They think that it's all about laws and rules and instructions they added to the law. They're not to add or take away. The instructions are here to help us. The Sabbath's not like some crazy rule. It's just like, bro, it's once a week. And actually you're electromagnetic. It makes literal scientific sense. Your battery has to recharge effectively once a week. That's why beavers, even though they're busybodies, they don't work on Saturdays. That's why some plants don't even seem to open up on Saturdays. So, nature proves its creation. If you cannot understand the earthly things, how will you understand the heavenly things? I guess Yeshua the Messiah came and he forgot to tell everyone they were wrong about the earth. Sorry guys, by the way, you're actually completely wrong with your Hebrew cosmology that you all believe. It's actually a spinning ball. Of course, it's not a spinning ball that defies physics. He also said you can't measure the earth. Uh-oh, we have a problem. Which one's true, men or the scriptures? A lot of people don't like the scriptures, but it doesn't matter. It's being attacked. It's also being fulfilled right now. It's called the mark of the beast. They're conditioning you for the mark of the beast. It's prophecies from thousands of years ago. So the same year the government took over and everyone shut down overnight, they told you had to identify yourself with a physical piece of apparel to buy, sell, and trade. And they started scanning your wrist and scanning your forehead. I'm not telling you that is the mark. I'm saying they're conditioning you for the mark. The mark is coming. How conveniently they've now rushed out something you have to take that genetically modifies you. So you don't have to take anything to buy, sell, or trade. They're getting you ready. People are literally used to walking into a store like a robot and letting them scan their forehead now. The prophecy's coming true in front of everybody and no one even realized it. Pretty sad, honestly. I guess you could be a coincidence theorist and say the prophecy from thousands of years ago just happened to come true the same year the government took over and the whole world shut down together. But it's not a coincidence. Yeshua's coming back, and when he comes back, he's not very happy. I just want to let you guys know you want to be on the right side of that. Coming back with the sword. No, never voted. I think it's 2 birds to the same, or 2 rings to the same bird. I think it's the beast system. I don't support them. Every president ever tracks back to English royalty. They're literally related. So, like for example, Trump and Hillary Clinton were supposedly like mortal enemies. Hillary Clinton was on the second row of his wedding. They're all buddy. Right now we have somebody that can't speak coherent sentences. And when I tell people I think he's a psycho, people are like, you must like Trump. Like, no, I just don't vote. I don't believe in the political system. And this is what's so crazy. People think that we get our rights from the government now. The truth is that we have the Declaration of Independence that says we get our rights from the Creator, and then we have the Constitution. That's where we articulated those rights. We just wrote down a summary of our rights we get from the Creator and made the government adhere to it. Now people think that the government gives us rights. Like, what does the government let us do? That's totally backwards. They work for us, and actually we're supposed to limit them. Yeah, you're right. No, that's not a conspiracy. Well, here's the thing. Conspiracy theory is a term created by the CIA. So they admit they created that term to discredit anyone that questions the official narrative. So it's a cop-out word to shut down the truth. Yeah, there are things called satellites, but they're actually connected to balloons and emit this. They've been seen crashing out of the sky on tape over 10 times. So whenever something that looks identical to a satellite, that's a weather satellite, crashes out of the sky attached to a balloon over 10 times, that should probably tell you something. Satellites don't fly around in a space vacuum that literally defies the second law. Yeah, the Truman Show told you the truth in plain sight. Yeah, he thought he lived on a ball, and really the whole time he was in a little dome, and there was an edge he couldn't get past. But he ended up opening the door, which is actually symbolic of the esoteric belief they can get outside the firmament without the help of the Creator. That's a little deeper. Yeah, the Truman Show showed you the truth in plain sight. There's actually lies on the news and truth in movies and TV shows. Right. Yep, later, man. Probably coincidence that the Disney logo actually has a furry man over top of the earth also, where the tower goes to the top. It's like the tower Babel was trying to build to the top, right? Yeah, man. You know what's not scientifically rigorous? Making claims antithetical to the second law of thermodynamics. Since we have some new people here, I'll explain the second law of thermodynamics to you. It says that entropy will always increase, pressure will fill the available space, heat goes to cold, high pressure goes to low pressure. I'll simplify it though, don't worry. I'm not gonna leave you hanging. When you open a soda and it goes psh, it's because it equalizes to the lower pressure around it. The reason your soda's fresh and carbonated is because it's sealed, it built up pressure, that's what keeps it fresh. As soon as you open it up and remove the seal, it equalizes to the lower pressure around it. This is called the second law of thermodynamics. That always happens. You couldn't have pressure sitting next to a vacuum, it would fill the vacuum. It's called the second law. Literally, space as is defined is impossible.
I thought it was off. I was gonna fight. Thank you.
In a world. Yeah, I'll give y'all some spoken word. I know people sometimes think, oh, it rhymes, it must be true. So geopolitically, we're in the field. That's for Israel. I wonder, is it real? Rappers or actors say they hide, they sip with pills, glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big Pharma set it up just to flip the pills, control the music industry until the scripts get filled. They took the way you saw the world and distorted it, and now you think you want a rocket to twirl somewhere orbiting. Their theory is disproportionate. The truth get distorted quick, with a forceful grip. They force in the info that we absorb and quit. Took the people's signature, extorted it, they forging it. If news anchors informants, then I wonder who informing them. There's a surplus, but they tell us there are shortages. Credit economy, mortgages, dollar that's supported with empty fortresses. But what's important is this reportingship's important because of course it is what extortion is. In accordance with an assortment list of foreign tricks, we ignoring which informant is informant this, we're snoring tricked. Anytime they can start forcing ish. With military forcing ish. Pedophilia and the government endorsing it. Eugenics is exactly what abortion is. You just vilified those insubordinate. Way the matrix engineer, that's unfortunate. In a world. They rhymed, it must be true.
What's up, guys?
I'll slow it down. They tell us there's really a surplus, but they tell us there are shortages. A credit economy built with mortgages and a dollar that's supported with empty fortresses. But what's important is this. We're porting ships, important gifts. Of course it is what extortion is. In accordance with an assortment list of foreign tricks, we're ignoring which, forming this, informant this, we're snoring tricked. Pedophilia and the government endorsing it. Yeah, eugenics is exactly what abortion is. You just vilified those insubordinate. But that's the way the matrix engineer, that's unfortunate. I lost a lot of you with one of those lines, but hey, bro, I still can speak truth unequivocally. I don't really care. In the world. Why would they lie? Why would they lie? Why would they lie?
What up, homies? Thanks for the support. If you see a super chat, can you pull it up on your phone? If you see a super chat, then you can tell me, you know what I'm saying? So I can actually
Address it. I'm giving anyone $100 cash that can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth correctly. I'll tell you the first question. It's really easy. It's the easiest one I come up with. How many times does the Earth spin in 24 hours? How many times does the globe Earth supposedly spin in one day? No one ever gets the money. It's all good. Don't pull it in. $100 cash. No one's got the money. I've been asking Washington, D.C. as an entire city for 4 days. Yeah, everyone laughs by and mocks me and ridicules me because I'm crazy and stupid. I don't believe the Earth's a ball. But none of them even know the basic questions about it. They don't even know how big it is or how fast it spins or anything. I know all about it. So basically it's like I go into a church and someone tells me the Bible's real, and then they tell me they've never read Genesis before. I'd be like, cool story, bro. So when you learn the actual story, then maybe you'll have the right to act like I'm crazy for not believing in it. No one can win the money. $100 cash, no strings attached. If you don't get it right, you don't have to pay me money. Also, when you're in school, I encourage you to ask your teachers this, children. Because really, the lying to the children is what I'm mad about. Ask your teachers how we have pressure that keeps us alive if it's next to a vacuum, if the second law says that's impossible. Ask them how a fluid static says water always finds its level, how it's spinning around the globe. And what you'll find is the answer to every question they can't answer is gravity. Even though gravity doesn't work, gravity doesn't stop air pressure from filling the available space at the surface level. Gravity is the strongest at the surface level. If I let gas out, like helium or hydrogen, it goes in all directions. It's called omnidirectional dispersal. Omnidirectional, all directions. That includes directly up. That is the opposite of down, for anyone that was wondering. Supposedly, gravity pulls things down relative to the center of mass, except for the gas at the surface, because it goes straight up. Well, if it doesn't stop the gas from going straight up at the surface where it's the strongest, how would it stop the gas from going straight up hundreds of miles above the surface where it's way weaker sitting next to a vacuum. It literally couldn't. So when they say gravity, you can just refute it and decapitate it. The problem is that most people won't be able to say that to their teacher. And then when a teacher says gravity, everyone will just laugh like that person's done when the truth is they were right. And I know I could debate your teacher because I debate astrophysics professors. They don't know the answer to that question either. That's where the conversation ends every time. So, you know, you name it, Yale, Stanford, Harvard. Huh? Name a university, bring a professor, see if he'll debate me. He won't. He definitely won't document it. They can't answer that question. It's really pretty simple. See, the way I say it to them, it's a little bit more what you would call wordy or technical. It's because they can handle it, right? But the second law of thermodynamics necessitates pressure will fill the available space because entropy will increase. Systems always seek spontaneous equilibrium. It's a literal impossibility to have a pressurized system adjacent to a near perfect vacuum of 10 to the negative 17 torr. This violates the second law of thermodynamics. That is a natural law. Natural laws are things that just happen always. They're not theories, they're facts. It's called a natural law. How can you make a claim opposite to the natural law and you have no evidence to even be possibly true? And I'm crazy? $1 million offer to anyone that show water bending convexity around the exterior of a spinning sphere. Simply water sticking to a ball that spins. If you can show that, you get $1 million. The offer's been up for 2 years. No one's got it because it's impossible to show it. Water always finds its level. So, interesting. If anyone can show pressure sitting next to a vacuum and not going into the vacuum, I'm sure we can come up with some money for you too. That's also impossible. The globe earth claims to be the anomalies to these things. The globe earth is the magic spinning ball that defies physics. It's the one thing in the world that defies physics. And you just have to believe us because NASA went to the moon, duh. Is this not sounding a little ridiculous to you? I know there are some people out here, if you come look at the sign, if you're not too afraid to be at least open enough to actually read the information, you'll see a high altitude picture of the horizon from 20 miles up. It's flat. So they said they jumped out from the edge of space, quote unquote, with Felix Baumgartner. You can Google this. It was pretty dope to watch, to be honest. This dude jumps out from 128,000 feet and just starts spinning and passes out before he gets to the bottom. It was wild. And whenever they showed you this footage, it looked like the Earth was a giant ball and that this guy was in space. Well, GoPro funded this jump. They have what's called fisheye lenses, which impose a curvature. You can make the Earth look like a ball from the ground with a fisheye lens. But they didn't tell us that they imposed the curvature. They just let you think you were seeing the Earth being a ball. What we did was we sent a high altitude balloon up 110 to 120,000 feet up. And guess what we saw? That the horizon was completely flat. And we did it over and over, all over the world. So they had to come out and address this. So Neil deGrasse Tyson came out, who was one of the most famous quote-unquote scientists in the world. He said, yeah, a lot of people think you saw the curve of the Earth in that footage from Felix Baumgartner, but you did not. You would never see the curvature from that height. He pulls out a beach ball and he explains you'd be 2 millimeters off this beach ball up there. That stuff would look freaking flat. So why they show us it look like a ball then? It's because they're lying. When you tell the truth, you don't have to lie a lot. That makes no sense. A lot of people say that, oh, the Earth's a ball, that's why boats disappear over the curve. That's what Neil deGrasse, Bill Nye, the science guy, quote unquote, said to me whenever I was younger. Right? He's actually just an actor, by the way. He's not a scientist. So he's boats disappear over the curvature of the Earth. People used to think the Earth was flat, but then they saw that the boats disappear over the curvature of the Earth. That's how we know it's a ball. Well, actually, I have hundreds of observations where the boat disappears, and then I zoom in and I bring it back into focus entirely. It doesn't disappear because it goes over the curve of the Earth. It disappears because it gets so far away from you, you can't see it anymore until you zoom in. You have to increase the optical limit. You can't see forever. It's called limit. Once again, the question is, why would they lie? Why would they lie about that? Why would they tell us the Earth was actually a ball? Why would they tell us the boats disappear over the curve? Because if they're not lying, they wouldn't have to make up stories that supposedly prove it. They would just tell you the truth, but they don't. And once again, I don't really do this for the adults as much because some people aren't open-minded. I do it for everyone that's open-minded, to be real. Some people out here are open-minded, I can tell with their body language. Okay, but I realize it's because children are being lied to. And whenever a child is young, they're malleable, man. They believe whatever you tell them. They believe some dude sneaks into the fireplace and can see them all the time and gives them presents. It doesn't matter what you tell them, they're going to trust you as an adult. Do you know how despicable it is to lie to children? Now I get it, most of you guys, when you tell them that they live on a tiny speck of dust, you don't believe you're lying. Some of you teach them that they came from apes. Some of you actually believe that nonsense. Some of you don't, you still teach them though. Doesn't really matter. The truth is that children are being lied to. Okay, and there are psychological ramifications of this. Whenever they can't trust any of their senses, they don't think they can trust anything they ever observe. So they're like, I never feel the earth spinning. Oh, but it has to be spinning. Yeah, I mean, I'll give you $100 if you can answer 3 questions about the globe of Earth, bro. Oh, okay. That's what I thought. Everyone acts real big and bad, but no one will ever come up here and ask any questions or answer the questions for $100 because they don't know anything about their religion. Heliocentrism is a religion. It's a belief system built upon the doctrine of man with no empirical evidence. It's all good. It's okay. You can break out of your religion. You can be free. You don't have to believe that Nazis are the only ones that can go to space. The good thing NASA buddied up with them at 69. You can think for yourself. See, the Earth has to be curving at a certain rate if it's a ball with a radius of 3959. It doesn't do that, though. This is not a debate. I went and tested it. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of us have went and tested it. There's actually tens of millions of flat earthers. There's 10 million in Brazil alone. Everyone that's been in the airplane can see that it's curved, is what he said. All right, let me explain to you why this is ridiculous. I just now told you. Oh, man, I'm just gonna talk over you, brother. So, I actually used to work at an airport. I know hundreds of pilots on a first-name basis. I worked in a private airport. Okay, all of them say you never see the curvature, but this guy did. In addition to that, a commercial flight, it flies at 35,000 to 40,000 feet. I just now told you that the world's most famous scientist says that you couldn't see the curvature from 128,000 feet. That's 4 times high. So how could you see the curvature from a commercial flight at 35,000 feet whenever the mainstream scientist for your side says you can't see it 4 times higher than that? Uh-oh.
By the way, newsflash, there's night.
There's night, yeah, because the sun's local, and when it moves away from you, you can no longer see the sun, so it gets dark. Then it comes back around,
But it's flat,
and you can see it again.
It's flat, so you already said something against what you're talking about. So it moves away from you, the earth is flat. Oh, wow.
Yeah, the earth is flat and doesn't move, and the
Just
sun
learn
moves
about
over top of it.
Just learn about something that you're
Yeah,
talking
it's something
about.
called attenuation of
Your
light.
fraud
Light gets
is
absorbed into
proving
the
itself.
atmosphere. Light doesn't travel forever. So you have a radius of light. Just like you can't see forever, light doesn't go forever. So imagine like a little spotlight above the earth. Effectively, it's localized. And when it gets away from you and you get outside of its radius of light, you can't see it anymore and it gets dark. Then it comes back around, you can see it again, it's daytime. This is why you're going to see the sun move through the whole sky. When I first got here, it was over there. Now it's over there. But you know what they said? It didn't move. It's in the same place, and we're just spinning, falling backwards 1,000 miles an hour, and it just looks like it's moving. I thought I was the conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, so
That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
if it's flat, then we're still, how do we ever get night?
Because the sun is local and it gets further away from you. I'm going to get into the same
are taught
question.
by your religion, which is the flat earther religion.
Okay, so some people get triggered about this. It is what it is. You should ask yourself why do grown men get mad about the fact the earth's not a ball. That's why I said I normally just do this for the children because they're being lied to.
Travel!
And it's
Travel
not
a little
fair. If
bit.
you're a grown man and you want to believe in fairy tales,
Travel a
that's
little
cool.
bit.
I've traveled a lot. I'm doing it all around the U.S. as
Yeah,
we speak,
you said
actually.
that you have measured the earth. You have measured the earth. You have said that.
Yeah,
You're
I've
a
measured.
liar.
I've measured portions of the
You
earth.
portions now? It's portions?
I've never said I measured the
No,
whole
you
earth.
said the earth. You have said the
It's
earth.
literally
Now
illegal.
you're lying.
Okay,
now you're
this guy thinks he's gonna shut me down, but all I have to do is
pulling back what
casually
you've
talk
said
on a
out of your
microphone
own
to drown
mouth.
him out. I don't know what his POA here is. This is ridiculous. Okay, so I've explained numerous times you can't circumnavigate north to south. It's literally illegal to travel the entire earth. Why would I ever claim to have measured the whole thing? That's ridiculous. I've
But
measured
you've
portions,
said it because you're a liar.
measured portions of the earth.
You're a
And when I
liar.
measure the earth
You have said it.
over long distance observations, it's not curving anywhere. It's flat everywhere.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
So if the surface of the earth isn't curving anywhere, what is it? Take all the time you need. If the surface of the earth isn't curving anywhere, what is it? Yeah, it's flat, bro. And I don't know why people get so triggered about it. It's really not that big of a deal. Yeah, you're not spinning right now. You're sitting still. Wow, my world's over. The reason it's important, though, is because it's the center of everything, and that means it was created. You deal with that how you deal with that. The truth is, we're being lied to, we're having our money stolen from us, and children are being coerced into believe the opposite of everything they ever experienced, and that's despicable in my opinion, and that's why I'm out here. I do this because the creator called me out here. I don't do this because people that are grown men are mad that cartoons aren't real space. Because that's all they give you is cartoons. But I want to go to space. Star Wars is cool. Dude, do you, bro. I don't care. The truth is, I'm here to people that have ears to hear. I plant seeds, and if you're open-minded, you hear the truth and you receive it. I'm not trying to force you to believe something. In fact, I don't want you to blindly believe me. What I want you to do is go test every single claim I've made. I want you to go measure the earth. You can measure portions of the earth and prove it's not curving anywhere. In fact, the only way we even know how far away different cities are is because we measured the earth using plane survey data. Plane, that means assuming the earth is flat. You have to drop something called a plumb line. This is a vertical line down to the earth. This establishes your vertical plumb line, assumed to be horizontal to the plane earth. And then you measure in small increments, assuming the earth is flat. This is the only way we even have distances for any map ever used in the history of mankind. Every single map that exists, it's flat. And it has a flat topographical layout as well. Guess what the military uses whenever they travel? A flat map. Guess what the United Nations logo is? A flat map. You can't travel without assuming the earth is flat. There's hundreds of declassified military documents that admit the earth is flat. You guys have never read them though, huh? There's hundreds of military documents that say the earth is flat. Hundreds. So whenever people's lives are at stake, the military has to assume the earth is flat and not moving. When they have to go get the bad guys, which is normally orchestrated, but they have to assume the earth is flat and not moving. Hundreds of documents. Every time they fly, they assume the earth is a flat, non-rotating surface. That's a verbatim quote from a military document. Whenever they shoot missiles, they assume that the earth is a flat, non-rotating surface. For target acquirement, they take their location and they make a flat map centralized to them so they can figure out where the bad guy is, assuming the earth is a flat, non-rotating surface. These are military documents. There's something called electromagnetic towers. Right, and it's called, there's a document, you can look it up, it's called Electromagnetic Propagation Over a Flat Earth. This is a military document. It's in order to actually create electromagnetic towers as weapon systems. And they have to assume the earth is a dielectric plane, flat, and non-rotating. I wonder why the governments or the militaries are spending millions of dollars on technology to assume the earth's flat. Probably just like to throw the money away and make stuff up, huh? And most of this was actually classified at one point. They've only been recently declassified through FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act. The military knows the earth is flat. The Masons know the earth is flat, but just the 33rd degrees, by the way. Yeah, because you have to read their literature. Albert Pike tells you what the earth is. He was a 33rd degree Freemason, the only Confederate soldier with a statue outside in Washington, D.C. He says they're Luciferians and the earth is a geosmic stationary plane. Have you ever seen the logo of Masonry? It has a G in it. The G stands for numerous things. They'll say Gnosticism, Grand Architect. That's what they're allowed to tell you. One of the things it stands for is it represents the 7th letter, because 7 is the sacred number of sacred geometry, the golden ratio of Fibonacci sequence. One of the things it stands for is geometria. This means measurements of the earth. That's why it has a square and a compass in their symbol, because that's how you measure a flat earth. They literally have to know this to be in the 33rd degree. And by the way, if you don't know anything about the Masons, you should look into it. They built this entire city. We have some of the biggest Freemasonic lodges that exist in this city. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying like all Masons are bad or crazy psychopathic liars. Most of them don't know what's going on. That's how they have a cloak. They give a lot of money to charity. They have a bunch of people that don't know. They're actually good intended. Although it doesn't matter though, even those people have to play dress up in the dark and do little rituals, and I think that's weird. So, anyway.
You might not know that.
I can't even verify this supposed time the city was built, to be honest. This architecture doesn't actually line up with the technology that we had back then. This is way too much of a red pill for some of you guys. Yeah, masonry, you know what that means? Masons? That means like building with stonework. That's what mason means. That's why all of this has beautiful stonework throughout the whole city. It's one of the capitals. We won't get too much into the mason. You guys can believe they love you if you want to. Anyway, I'm gonna take a break, but just so you know, the most powerful rich people in the world, they know the earth is flat and not moving. The military knows the earth is flat and not moving, because that's the only way they can get the bad guys. Not everyone in the military. It's called compartmentalization. It's the people at the top that have to design the technology. They have to assume the earth is a flat, non-rotating surface for all technology to work. Military documents by the hundreds have been declassified that say this. You've never read them, but I'm crazy. So the truth is, you can't even fly a plane without knowing the earth isn't moving. We have something called a gyro, which has rigidity in space, assuming the earth is flat and not moving.
That said that it's
So anyway, in conclusion, before I take a break, the Earth is not a tiny speck of dust in the ever-expanding universe. It doesn't move. It's the center of everything, and it's flat. The Creator loves you. He made you, and there's no other way the Earth could be here. It had to be made. You didn't come from apes. You did not come from apes. So look into the Earth. Don't believe what I'm just telling you. Yeah, I know hundreds of pilots, bud.
You fly.
Yeah. All right, this guy's.
You fly to
this guy's
disprove the
trouble.
pilots. You
In a
fly to
world where
disprove
people
the
get upset
scientists.
because their space cartoons
You
aren't
fly.
real. I'm sorry that they
Travel
showed
to
you cartoons,
other
but anyway.
continents.
Yeah,
And
I'm
be
gonna
up
take
in
a
the
break
air
for
and
this
see
guy's
the
tripping. Much
curvature,
love.
the obvious curvature of the Earth.
We get it, you're triggered.
We're losing water in the seas every day because the flat Earth means water up, up. There goes water, nothing to hold back. Flat Earth.
You just get triggered. Oh, what up, guys? In a world where grown men get triggered. He's so mad, yeah, I know.
Let me see how close I can get it. Let me put my
Just a second, guys.
I'll just move it over here. We're about to grab the stand. I have to back up.
Just a sec, guys. We're about to move out of the sun because... Whoa, 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 dude. Jeez Louise. Excuse us. We're alive again. Alright, we moved to the shade because I'm getting like super sunburnt. What's up, everybody? Look how triggered people get that the Earth's not a ball, dude. How weird is that? See if I can get the super chats. God bless, brother. Thank you for the kind words and the support, J-Law. Oh, that might have been a long time ago. To be honest. I don't really know. Show us the gamma. Can he win $100? No, he was just talking trash. I get way triggered. Dude, that dude that's screaming's been here for all the answers and he still couldn't win the $100. That's pretty funny. In a world. Imagine getting burnt by a light 93 million miles away. That's pretty funny. What's up, guys?
Oh, that's the bite.
I dropped you a super chat from UK, bud. Thank you, bro. I'll try to find it. Chris, did you know? I was hoping that Chris would be able to look at the super chat. Hey, bro, if you want to just retype your super chat and the amount or anything like that, then I'll read it. Also, when people are retarded, put them on camera so they'll shut up or run away. That's not a bad idea. It's just really I mean, I can't like hold the camera while I do this, bro. Like, I hope you guys were able to see the people that were asking questions. I think it was a little bit out of whatever. I would give him $100 just to leave. He's been here for 40 years. He's not going anywhere. Hey, bro. Austin the Legend, may blessings keep coming your way, my brother. You're an inspiration and a teacher of truth. Thank you very much for the kind words and the support. Pops the Legend. Much love, bro. Whew. Your boy needs a break. I'm going to take a few minutes and drink some water if you have any. We still have some water? What? We still have water? I think we do.
Are you done with your scooter?
What do you guys want me to talk about on the mic in front of the White House? Austin Mad always cooped up yelling at the mic. You'd be surprised how many people like stay around just so they can hear it. Railguns. I can mention railguns. Absolutely radical, my brother. Thank you, man. That one woman was awesome. She got it. Yeah, she did. She knew a lot. She needed to come and have the confirmations because, like she said, even her husband thinks she's crazy. In lighthouses, okay. You're crushing peace. I have to go back to training. Thank you, bro. Shout out to Mr. Anderson. Go sub to his channel. Much love, bro. We'll catch up. Roadsters in space. Okay. Austin's the man. Thank you, bro. Maybe more market the beast system. Yeah, I know. That's one of the main things I feel like I'm supposed to be talking about is to market the beast. Babylon. Okay, I'll talk about Babylon. I'm just going to take a second because I just got to chill. Space has to be real quick because NASA. I don't know how much longer that mic's gonna last. It looks like it's tripping, bro. Do we have one of those chargers? Like a regular... We don't, do we? If you want to. The keys are in the backpack. I don't actually know where the keys are. Oh man, I'm tired. But my journals. Yeah, it's hilarious. Lighthouse is coming, hallelujah. Yeah, dude, for real. Can't wait till Lighthouse comes, bro. I can finally actually speak. Selenilian eclipse, okay, I'll talk about that. Yeah, chill out and try to stay under the shade, fam. Yeah, we moved to the shade. I've got to stay in the shade, dude. That sun's draining, bro. It's draining a brother. In a world. Do you guys like the spoken word of the rap? I'd love to see people interact, live questions, debates, etc. Yeah, like normally people are only comfortable debating or asking questions when one person's bold enough to ask a question, then people gather around to ask questions. I'll try and like make sure everyone knows they can ask questions, but people get really nervous. Yeah, I'll bring up the Selenilian. That's the latest troll stuff's only true if it's in a scientific journal. Yeah, I know. I think that the best content is when people interact, for sure. Oh, by the way, guys, I got a pretty cool announcement for you. So my boy Chris, being the legend he is, got a GoPro Max and it has 360 view. So when we document these interactions, we have to get it all set up. Unfortunately, we don't have it today, but it'll tape it all, and then when it uploads, once it's uploaded, the viewer can actually move around with the touchscreen and look at a 360 view of everything that was taped during the interactions. So you could see the White House, you could see the people all around in each direction, how many people we're hearing. Super cool. So we're gonna start having really good content where you can interact with the video itself.
Be right back.
Ballers are afraid of thinking for themselves. Gamma-tastic, yeah, for sure. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, dude, it's gonna be cool. 360 will be awesome. Trolls can't hide. Yeah, exactly. They won't realize they're in camera, but everyone will be in camera. And how cool is it that we live, like, technology has gotten to where now once the video uploads, you can literally just move around the 360 view. You can see everything that was seen all around us. It's gonna be really cool. This is awesome, bro. Wish I could be there. Respect, Austin. God bless. Thank you for the kind words and support, brother. Much love, Michael. That's a great idea. I know others with the 360 cameras, and it saved their life many times. Dude, I might be able to play part of that interaction with the, oh man, that must have been the Coriolis. Hey, Wind, chill out. I told the wind to chill out, so we're good. Low power mode. Is this thing not charging? It's gonna freeze for a second. All right, we're charging, we're good. Give me a few more seconds to take a breather, I'll get back on the mic. I might just sit down for a little bit though. So you guys won't actually see me, you guys will see whoever's listening, and then if they come up, then you'll get to hear them, I guess, but you know, gather your strength, yeah, for sure. You guys would be surprised how exhausting that is. It's really wild. Any specific things that you want me to talk about, just hit me up. Got the railgun, lighthouses. What was the other one? Oh, the Selenilian eclipse. That's a good one. Fake alien agenda, that's a good idea. Everyone thinks aliens are real and that makes them woke. Rigidity in space, I touched on that a little bit, but I'll try to remember to talk about it. That's one serious lens the guy maroons at. Austin, what's the thing under your shirt? Asking. Oh, you mean like these right here? You're talking about these? Just give me a yes, this is what you're talking about. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Good, God bless the world.
Aliens perpetrate the space lie, yeah. He's sat behind you.
God bless you.
Yeah. No, people have already came up and recorded me, bro. People came up and set up like a whole entire thing and recorded me. So, yes. They're called CC. The scriptures say to wear them. You make them, fasten them yourself, then fasten them to your garments, the corner of your garments, to remind you to keep the commands. It's in the Torah, so I wear them on my pants, on the corners of my garment. Yeah, CC. Like the way a drum makes a sound. Yes. yeah, man, you gotta do what you gotta do. When I see someone else wearing these, I'm like, oh, you know immediately that you got like a brother with you. Well, some people wear them and they don't respect them, but I would encourage you to make sure that you're serious about it before you wear them, because it looks like it could go both ways. Might be a dangerous game to take Yah's name, claim to take his name in vain. Just saying though. Get a small spray water bottle or rub some water on. Yeah, I mean, there's like a lot of stuff that we could buy for the Activism, man, but I just spent like just under $400 at Best Buy for this PA system. I gotta find a new microphone. They didn't have any at Best Buy, and I can't really order them off the internet. I don't have an address to send them to. I might be able to send some stuff to Dave's though. And then Chris bought that GoPro, so like, cause he had lost his in the river that we floated on, so he replaced it. So like, we're getting there, you know. It's just like, it's kind of expensive, you know. And I mean, I sold everything that I have for this, so I make sure that we have like a decent amount of money for groceries and gas and propane for the, you know, for the RV. So I'm doing what I can. Copy that. Let us know your specific financial needs. I don't know. I need to get a Masquerade Tour weatherproof sticker for the RV, and a giant QR code for the Masquerade Tour, so it'll take us to, like, you know, basic Flat Earth websites and basic Flat Earth channels. I have the QR code. I just have to get it printed. Those cost like hundreds of dollars just to print those and put them on the RV. And I have to design and print off like numerous flyers and business cards with the QR code. I'm sure that's not too expensive though, and I'm gonna do that. I'd have to think about it honestly. There's quite a few things. We need like a canopy that will block the sun, even though they're really gonna get triggered about it. Yeah, just little stuff like that. I don't know. The GoPro is gonna help out a lot. Honestly, 2 GoPros would be really ideal, but we can make one work. And I think I can make it to where the GoPro actually streams to YouTube. So I just have to work on it. I didn't want to jeopardize the stream not knowing how it works. So when it's live, you won't be able to flip it 360, but as soon as it posts, you can get on there and you can flip it around and see, like, you can just move your finger through the screen and see the whole 360 view. Super cool. Yeah, that's pretty much it, you know. I mean, it's just like the expenses of gas and groceries alone is pretty high. So, you know, to feed 2 people, to fill up 100 gallons and then fill up propane, you know what I'm saying? Those are big expenses. Like, each time you do it, you got to drop $300 on gas, like $100-something on propane, like $200-300 on groceries. So I got to keep that in the chamber the best I can. I know Yah's got me though. I don't really trip about money. I sold all my stuff. Never stop telling the truth. I will not, bro. I think Bill Gates has a canopy that can block the sun. Great job today. Thank you very much, Ramrock. What's up, homie? Don't want that big brain overheating out there. It's hot, bro. He's going to get the charger for the little piece that plugs into the amp that makes the microphone pick up Bluetooth. So I have to charge that because it started going out. So we're gonna be here for a couple minutes chilling, which I'm not mad about, let me be honest. My nose is like pilling, bro. Did Nathan Thompson make another channel after ban, or he quit? Who is that? Flyers would be great. I send you some cash later tonight to help the tour. You deserve every penny. Well, thank you very much, bro. Much love. I'll read the PayPal and Cash App either later on this phone on the stream or on the computer stream later. I was gonna do a computer stream yesterday. I was just kind of tired. I went and jumped on with Kingdom in Context, and it was late, and I just had to call it, bro. So I think we may get out of here tomorrow. I think we make it out of here, and then on the way out, we're gonna go to the Washington Masonic Memorial and do some activism outside of there, then leave. We're gonna start heading up north. I'll try to get it all mapped out tonight, like tentative cities and dates. And then we're gonna chill with Dave, the infamous Dave Weiss, deep inside the rabbit hole. So that should be cool. We're gonna have a lot of good content coming from you. So basically my idea, sorry I'm ignorant of the situation. I'm sorry, I just don't even know who that is that you're talking about. You can go to Glowbusters Activism and watch a response to him, and then you'll know what happened. And that's just like half of it. I kept the magazine with some bullets. Keep up the good work. Hit me up if you come through Colorado. Thank you very much for the very generous super chat. Much love. I'm awake. Are you? And I will definitely hit you up when we're that way, bro. I definitely want to go see the Rocky Mountains. But thank you for the support, man. It means a lot. It's the only way that we can do this. So I like basically what I want to do. The idea for my tour is that I have footage, flat smacking and telling the truth about the scriptures and stuff in front of every infamous place, like Niagara Falls in the background, the White House in the background, the mountains in the background. You see what I'm saying? The Pentagon in the background, the world's biggest Masonic lodge in the background, the Washington Monument in the background, Grand Canyon in the background, Lake Michigan in the background. That's my idea, is to get footage of all that, because I feel like no one's ever done that. And then compiling it all together at the end and making an awesome video of the tour, like a recap video or documentary. So we're gonna start compiling behind the scenes footage too. We have a whole lot of content coming for you guys. I also have I brought my little button ups and stuff. That's the clothes I didn't give away, so that I can dress like a little nerd, put my glasses on and go out there and did you know people actually think the Earth's flat with my iPad out, writing on it? So people won't know. Try to trap professors into debates. Yeah, we have a whole bunch of ideas. Should be cool. Also, I'm thinking about doing a weekly show called Relative Itty or something like that. I don't know if I like that, but where people that can't get through to their relatives, they pay just a small amount. It's not really about the money, it's just that it'll weed out the trolls for the most part, like $20 or something. And then their relative gets to come on and ask me any questions they can think of, and I got to try to break through to their loved ones. So that's a weekly show idea. Shout out to Elijah for that idea. We're also gonna set this up in Times Square and get that footage, so it's gonna get pretty epic. Also, I have the footage of them trying to tell me I couldn't do this. It's hilarious. Before I even turned the speaker on, they tried to tell me I couldn't have it. What a joke. The church we went to put a mask on Yeshua. We pulled off funds and will not return. We're now going to donate to you once a month instead. Wow. Thank you very much. And yeah, I definitely support the decision to pull out of that place. What a bunch of psychopaths. Oh my goodness.
All right.
That'll be funny, yeah. If y'all have any good ideas for stuff like that, let me know. Flat Earth Research Foundation 2, another $100 super chat. Thank you very much for the very generous donation, bro. Much love, man. That's very generous. You guys are why we can do this. You are the best. So stoked about the activism lately. My family are all on board with FE. It's my friends and ex-bandmates. It's painful. Some of them aren't gonna wake up, bro. Some of them aren't even organic anymore. Sweet donos, absolutely, man. Thank you guys. I really like those ideas, sweet. All right, let me chug this water. I'll get back on the mic. Austin's always mad, cooped up, yelling at the mic. These pants are a little too big, bro. But they got my CC on them, bro. I had to rock them. You see, I color coordinated for the ladies out there. I know what's up. Color coordinated with the khaki, yeah. sir.
You're welcome.
Oh, I forgot. I gotta charge this before I can go live. Do this little thing.
You want to just plug in the regular mic?
We actually have a normal mic that came in the PA system. It's a cord, so I'll have to just sit down and use it. But I'll talk on it while we're letting the other one charge.
I put new batteries on this too. Sweet.
So you guys aren't going to see me. You're just going to see the people. I'll be sitting right this way with the mic.
Turn it up a little bit.
Bluetooth pairing.
You gotta turn on the switch on the mic.
Chill. Alright, we're good.
Across the street.
It's like turned all the way up.
Alright, you got
If the chat's got any suggestions, say it. I got my other phone out.
oh, the sound's We are offering $100 to anyone that can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth model. The first question is, how many times does the Earth spin in one day? Once is the right answer. And all of you can have the answer and still come up here. You have to get the next 2 right to get the $100, of course. I'll let you in on a secret though. No one's got the $100. I've been out here for 4 days. I do it to make a point that, like, people think I'm crazy. I don't believe in the globe Earth, and yet they don't even know what it claims yet. You know what I'm saying? It's a little unfounded to think I'm crazy because I don't believe what you believe, but you haven't figured out what you believe yet. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like if I go into a church and they tell me the Bible's real, but they never read Genesis before. How would you know the Bible's real? You haven't read it yet, bro. So let's go through some of the basics. My chat wanted me to bring a couple things up to you guys. So before I get into the Earth, actually, I'm going to explain this to you guys, and this is going to make some people uncomfortable, but it is what it is. A lot of people think that the scriptures are wrong. The scriptures actually happen to be true. Take that or leave it. But what they do is they predict a prophecy from thousands of years ago. They say there's going to be something called the mark of the beast. And it has to do with your wrist and your forehead, and you will be required to take it to buy, sell, or trade. Well, in case you weren't here last year, the whole entire world shut down on the same exact day. And what they did was said you had to put something on to identify yourself to be able to go into stores and buy and sell. Okay, they also started scanning your wrist and forehead this last year to quote-unquote take your temperature. If you think it's just a coincidence, they shut the entire world down, made you identify yourself with the physical piece of apparel to buy, sell, and trade, and started scanning your wrist and forehead all in the same year, you sound like a coincidence theorist. So watch out. They are conditioning you to be ready for the mark. People are now used to walking into stores getting scanned on their forehead like robots, like they have a barcode on their head. That's weird. It's just thousands of year old prophecy. The beast system's being built. Take it or leave it. All right, we're gonna get into the globe Earth. So we have something called lighthouses. Has anyone ever heard of a lighthouse? See, ships use lighthouses so they can actually know which way to travel or where the lighthouse is. Well, see, we can see lighthouses and the light that come out of it from miles and miles and miles away. Well, you shouldn't be able to do this on a ball Earth. See, the lighthouse is a certain height, which means that at that height, it should be able to reach a certain distance before it hits what's called a tangent point. This is where you would see the spear edge, the curvature of the Earth. Yet these lights from the lighthouses go way beyond that. Lighthouses literally couldn't work on a globe Earth, and yet we use them to navigate in waters. Just a coincidence, I bet. There's something called the railgun that the military has. It can shoot 100 miles on target, assuming line of sight, which is flat. Okay, it's literally impossible that they hit this target from 100 miles away if the Earth is dropping down beneath them at 8 inches per mile squared. There are hundreds of declassified military documents that say the Earth is flat. They're probably just trolling us though, huh? They just spent hundreds of millions of dollars on military technology assuming the Earth's a flat, non-rotating surface so they can throw it out. They don't really care, they're just making stuff up, I guess. See, whenever they make military planes, they have to assume the Earth's a flat, non-rotating surface. When they have to go get the bad guys, they have to assume the Earth's a flat, non-rotating surface to get their location centralized to them on a flat topographical map. So every time that someone's life's at stake, the military doesn't assume the Earth's a spinning ball. Again, just sort of a reminder, I'm giving anyone here $100 cash that can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth. If you don't get them right, you don't lose any money or something. There's no strings attached. Most people are just embarrassed to come up here because they know they don't know the answers. I know all the answers off the top of my head. I've been studying this for 5 years. I'm not like bragging, I'm some genius or something. I just actually researched it. You guys never did, you saw cartoons. And the fact that they told you flat Earth is dumb, that makes you feel like you gotta attack me or laugh at me so that way you don't feel uncomfortable. That way you feel like you're part of a in crowd or whatever. But the weak find contentment in the consensus of ignorance. Intelligent people don't care what dumb people think for yourself. So whenever you see the sun move in the sky and set, they actually say it's sitting still. Oh, that must have been the Coriolis effect.
What are your 3 questions about the globe Earth?
Okay, first question, super easy. How many times does the Earth spin every 24 hours?
You're talking about like revolving around its own axis or orbiting around the sun?
Yeah, spinning on its own axis.
Single time, right?
Yeah, one time, that's right. What's the distance to the sun?
Oh, I don't know that one.
Yeah, I don't know. 93 million miles away. It's actually changed 6 times in the last 100 years because their math keeps being wrong. I thought I was crazy.
What's the third question?
I don't know, I make them up as I go. See, now I can't ask that one as the second one, you know what I'm saying? Someone has to come up and answer 2 new ones.
I got it. Let's try it.
Okay, come over here. Okay. I'll just ask again just so we can technically do 3. How many times does the Earth spin in 24 hours?
1.
Correct. What's the circumference of the Earth?
Can I phone Alice?
No, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can use her as long as she doesn't pull her dumb phone out. Yeah,
What you got?
called dumb phones.
Circumference of the Earth.
I had to hide it on the
Circumference.
you know, that's
7 million.
No, that would be incredibly big.
7,000.
No, it's okay.
What is it?
24,901 miles.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah,
I was gonna
it's
say,
all good. Thanks for trying, bro.
Good, bro, of course.
I'll also accept any questions. Most people think that flat earthers are dumb and you could stump me. Well, Google the best question you can come up with, see if you can stump me. I debate astrophysics professors. So, I'll tell you a little history story about how we supposedly proved the Earth was a ball. Most people don't know anything about it. Supposedly went to the moon in 1969, turned around and saw the Earth was a ball. But NASA just can't go back to the moon yet. It's too dangerous. So we went in 69, but we can't go back 50 years later. That checks out. See, the iPhone 12 Pro that I'm streaming on, it has higher processing capability than a warehouse of computers in 69. Technology doesn't get worse, it gets better. They brought Nazis over here, so they went to the moon, but they can't go back later, bro. World-renowned pseudoscientist, astronaut named Don Pettit, he said, and I quote, "Well, I would go back to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back. They destroyed the technology of the world's biggest accomplishment ever, and then they still can't replicate 60s technology in 2021. You guys are the conspiracy theorists if you think that checks out. And by the way, Operation Paperclip is declassified. We brought Nazi scientists over here. We put one of the SS officers named Werner von Braun in charge of space exploration. He's the one that supposedly helped us get to space. I thought we hated Nazis. Instead of actually hanging them for war crimes against humanity, we revered them as some type of scientific geniuses. I guess that's why we can't go back to the moon. We're fresh out of Nazis. Something else Warner Van Braun did was he put Psalm 19:1 on his tombstone. This says in the scriptures that the firmament shows the handiwork of the Creator. The firmament is the container over top of you. The scriptures say that the Creator stretched the tent over the top of the earth and were grasshopper inhabitants within inhabitants. Later, bro. So why did the guy that took us to space put the actual Bible verse on his tombstone that says you can't go to space? He let the truth out on his deathbed, but no one put it together. Something else that Warner Van Braun did when he wasn't being a psychopathic Nazi murdering people or trolling Americans about fairy tale stories about space, he was also a science fiction author. He wrote a book in the 50s. The main character's name was Elon, and in this book, Elon discovers the first civilization on Mars. What a coincidence. 2021, we have someone named Elon Musk that's supposedly about to take us to Mars. I guess the Nazi wasn't just good at murdering innocent people, he was also a prophet. You guys sound like coincidence theorists. The Earth is not a spinning ball in a vacuum. This defies physics. One of the natural laws of physics this defies the second law of thermodynamics. Most people don't know what it is, but I'll explain it. You can't have a pressurized system sitting next to a vacuum. The pressure would fill the vacuum. See, the second law of thermodynamics, which is a natural law and always happens, it says that entropy will increase and systems will spontaneously seek equilibrium. High pressure migrates to low pressure. Heat migrates to cold. You couldn't have a pressurized system adjacent to an air-perfect vacuum of 10 to the negative 17 torr. This violates the second law. It would fill the available space. This is a literal impossibility. The only way that you're breathing oxygen and we have the gas pressure here that keeps you alive is because it is contained. It's actually in the word pressure. It presses on the walls of a container. Pressure is the energy or force exerted on the walls of a container. So the globe Earth makes a claim contradictory to the second law of thermodynamics. It also makes a claim contradictory to fluid statics. Fluid statics necessitates water always finds its level. This is why we put fluid in levels when we build things, because it always finds its level. This is why we call it sea level, because it's level. This is how we get elevations. We measure a distance above the local sea level. How is 70% of a ball level? It gets worse than that, though. They claim the radius value is 3,959 miles. That means that the Earth has to curve at a certain rate. A convexity of terra firma. That's just a fancy way of saying the curving of the land. It has to curve at 8 inches per mile squared up to 1,000 miles. You have to see the curvature of the Earth at 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. I know a lot of people don't like math. I get it. It's just geometry. So the square root of 1 is 1. And that means 1 foot off the surface of the Earth, you would have to see the curvature of the Earth no further than 1.225 miles away. We have an observation off the coast of California, 1 foot off the surface of the Earth, where the horizon is in fact seen over 10 miles away. This would require the radius to be 264,000 miles. 250,000 miles is a little bit different than just under 4,000. We falsified the radius value. Now here's where it gets pretty interesting. You can't just say the radius value is wrong, the Earth must be a little bigger, because if the radius value is wrong, the entire model is wrong. Gravity, quote unquote, requires the radius value be true. Day and night cycle uses the radius value. Distances on the Earth uses the radius value. Well, we know the distances on the Earth to be true. We verified them. We used plane survey data to measure it. That's how we know how far away Los Angeles is from New York City. The distances on the Earth can't be wrong. You also need the radius value to ever go to space. You need what's called a radius of orbit. A radius, in case you don't know, is the distance from the center to the edge of a circle or a sphere. So the radius value has to be true to even go to space. So we falsified the radius value. We have by deduction falsified all their claims about going to space. But don't worry, they don't really make that claim anymore. They say they can't go to space anymore. That's right, they went in 69, but they can't go 50 years later. And you guys didn't even know that. But under their own admission, they can't send humans to space anymore. It's too dangerous. They accidentally destroyed the technology and lost all the telemetry data that would prove they went in the first place. I guess we're just going to have to get some more Nazis to be able to go to space. So to have the radius of orbit, you have the distance from the center to the edge, and then you have the altitude of the supposed rocket, right? And that's what's called a radius of orbit. You need the radius of orbit to attain escape velocity to leave this quote-unquote atmosphere, which is a stupid term because gases have no inherent shape. They have omnidirectional dispersal. So atmosphere is a contradiction in terms, but I digress. So they couldn't have gone to space without an accurate radius value, and we falsified the radius value. I just explained to you we have an observation where the radius value would have to be 264,000 miles, and they claim it's under 4,000 miles. We have another observation where we can see mountains in France from over 200 miles away. According to the globe Earth map, it should have been hidden by 1 mile of Earth curvature. That's 1 mile vertical obstruction. Yet none of it was there. We saw the mountain from top to the bottom. This is literally impossible on a globe Earth. How do we see those mountains from 200 miles away when they're supposedly curving down and away from me? We have another observation in Lake Michigan. We can actually see the Chicago skyline across Lake Michigan over 60 miles away. The entire skyline should have been obstructed by the curvature of the Earth, and yet you can see the entire thing. This was actually on the news. It was an infamous picture. So they had to try to explain it. They said, you're not supposed to be able to see this skyline based on the curvature of the Earth. Well, what this is a superior mirage. And it just lifted the city up and stopped right where it looks flat, and it just looks like that. The problem with that is mirages change. So we had someone go out there to prove this wrong. We actually taped it, kept it in view, and traveled across the entire Lake Michigan and kept it in view, and nothing ever changed. It didn't invert, it didn't move around, it didn't change the location. It was exactly where we saw it to be because we're looking at the Chicago skyline. You have two options. Either you're looking at what's there, or it just coincidentally looks exactly like what's there, but it's not there. Wow. See, another thing is, they say that, well, it looks like the sun's moving in the sky. When I got here this morning, the sun was over there, now it's over there. It's going to keep moving until you don't see it anymore. Well, they say when you watch the sunset, it's actually sitting still. You're just falling backwards 1,000 miles per hour, and it just looks like that. That's the official story. That's what you guys believe. I'm crazy for not believing. Yeah. So the Earth has never been measured to be moving. The sky resets for all recordable history. We have 77 constellations. That's why they're called that. They're constant. And they reset around the central star Polaris for all recordable history. The Egyptians built megalithic structures that still line up with the stars they aligned them to thousands of years ago. This is impossible. We're supposed to be spinning and revolving as the sun shoots through space 500,000 miles per hour, and the galaxy shoots through that 1.3 million miles per hour. You would have what's called parallax. NASA actually can't go to space, bro. I'm sorry. You should get rid of that shirt. The truth is that NASA in Hebrew can actually mean to deceive. And that's why there's a little snake tongue on there. Or it's just a coincidence. I don't know. But apparently NASA can't go to space anymore because we don't have Nazis to help us get us there. They literally, NASA brought Nazis over here. So let me tell you about NASA then. So we did something called Operation High Jump in the 40s. This is declassified. Everything I'm telling you is verifiable and declassified by the military themselves. In the 40s, we did something called Operation High Jump. We explored the Antarctic region with Admiral Byrd. Okay? And then once we did that, we then signed the Antarctic Treaty, which is where every major world superpower agreed that we are not allowed as the human population to explore past the 60th south latitude. Now this, conveniently enough, would prove if the Earth's a ball or not, because you could circumnavigate it north to south. You would come under the ball, go over the ice cap, pop back up on the other side, but it's literally illegal to do this. So Russia, China, United States, supposed geopolitical adversaries and enemies, they put their differences aside to agree we're not allowed to go see what the Earth is. Probably just a coincidence. The Antarctic Treaty was signed within 1 year of the foundation of NASA. Probably another coincidence. So they don't let you go where you could verify what the Earth is. Okay? So most people say, oh, the Earth's flat? Wouldn't you fall off? Not one single flat earther thinks you would fall off the Earth. That is ridiculous. Okay? We know that someone circumvented the Earth. They went around the outside of it, and his name is Captain Cook. Numerous people did it. He documented 60,000 consecutive miles of an ice wall. When you get to Antarctica, there is an ice shelf that increases in altitude, and it contains the water, and you cannot get outside of it. Of course, the only way you can have water if it's contained. See, fluid static necessitates water conforms to its container and finds its level. The water is contained, not falling off a disk in space. That's what Flat Earth Society says we think, but that's misinformation. They've actually admitted in Congress they censor Flat Earth. Why didn't they censor the Flat Earth Society then? Because that is a misinformation campaign to make you think we believe things that are absolutely ridiculous, so you'll never look into this for yourself. No one thinks you fall off the side of a disc in space. That's ridiculous. We don't think that we're just a flat disk around spherical planets shooting up 9.8 meters per second squared. That's ridiculous. The truth is that the Earth is the bottom of everything and the sky resets over top of you. The word planet, the etymology is actually wanderer. They're wandering lights. I document them all the time. They are not static. Static means not moving. They move around as if they're in a fluid-like medium. They just look just like just all the other stars do when you zoom in on them. And they have a little bit of a different motion. Now, each star looks different. They're individual. And they move over top of us. Every single star goes east to west for all recordable history, even in the globe Earth model. And they all move around Polaris and reset over and over and over. But they say, well, it's just that they're thousands of light years away and it would take billions of years to see a difference, so just believe me. How could you make a claim about billions of years? That's ridiculous. Carbon dating doesn't even claim to go up to 50 years, and it's been 50,000 years, and it's been debunked. We actually took a couple samples to 2 different labs. We told them to actually date this using carbon dating. One of them said it was a few hundred years. One of them said it was a few thousand years old. So they can't even agree upon what carbon dating tells them. That's all fairy tales. See, there is nothing billions of years old. And no, you didn't pop up out of nothing. So most people think that the Big Bang Theory is real. So atheists, quote unquote, which don't actually exist, I'll get to that in a second. They think that everything came from nothing. It's called the Big Bang Theory. Well, the Big Bang Theory that supposedly justifies you being an atheist actually came from a Catholic priest by the name of George Lamonte. And he said there was a pre-existing energy. He didn't say everything came from nothing. He said there was a pre-existing energy. It doesn't even answer the question. It's just pseudoscience. It makes no sense. We're just trying to explain how the ball could even exist. It doesn't exist. The Earth is not a tiny speck of dust in the ever-expanding universe of nothingness. The Earth is stationary, has never moved, and the sky moves over top of it. They told you that everything that you observe and experience is the opposite of the truth. So when you feel like the Earth's not moving, it's actually spinning. When you see that it's flat, it's actually curving. When you see stuff in the sky moving, it's actually sitting still. No. When you see things in the sky move, it's because it moves. Do you feel the Earth spinning? Unless you've been taking tequila shots, you do not feel the Earth spinning. And by the way, when you get drunk and you lay down and get the spins, what do they tell you to do? They tell you to turn around and put your feet on the ground so you stop spinning. The Earth doesn't move. It never will, and it never has. So when you experience the Earth not moving, it's because it doesn't move. When you look out over large bodies of water and you see that the horizon is horizontal, which by the way is where the word horizon came from. Horizon, horizontal, it literally came from that word because the horizon is always horizontal, i.e. flat. Well, they say this looks flat, it's actually curving. Or maybe it's just actually flat. And when you see the sun move in the sky, it's because the sun's moving in the sky, not because you're falling backwards 1,000 miles per hour. If anyone's got any questions, they can hit me up. If anybody thinks they can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth, they get $100 cash, no strings attached. No one's won the money, though. I've only given away participation money just to be nice. $100, what's up, bro? All right, first question, super easy. How many times does the globe Earth spin in 24 hours? 1. Okay, I think you may have been here, so let me think. What axial tilt is the Earth on? What degree tilt is the Earth supposedly on?
Do what?
22 and a half. That's not too bad. It isn't correct, though. It's 23.4. What I'll do is I'll let you keep playing, but we won't count it as right. Okay, let's see. I feel like you might have been here for some of the answers. Let's see. I'll just ask you one of the basic ones anyway that I've already said. What's the circumference of the Earth? Oh, man. You heard me say it and didn't. It was close. 24,100 miles. It's 24,901 miles. I would have stuck with something close. Sure, I'll explain seasons. Okay, so the sun moves over top of us. It's much more local and smaller than they said it was. Whenever it gets too far away, you can't see the light anymore. It becomes nighttime. Then it circles back around and it comes back to where you can see it. It becomes daytime. It actually moves in and out. That's where you get seasons.
Are you saying the sun goes around the Earth?
The sun goes over top of the Earth in a circle, yeah. It doesn't go around the Earth as much as over top of it, but yeah.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's why whenever it's noon and it's over top of your head, it's hotter, and when it's further away, it gets cooler. It's because the sun is local. We also have crepuscular rays, which is where the rays all converge onto the sun. This could only happen if the sun was local. No, it doesn't move up and down. It just moves in and out. So throughout the course of the year, it gets a little closer to what we call the equator and further away, etc. It has a certain cycle over top. It just resets for all recorded history. Just a circle that goes in and out. Actually, there's something called a Flat Earth Zodiac app that explains it, and you can go look at any location, any time or day. It'll show you exactly where the sun is, and it works perfectly. Flat Earth app. I don't know exactly what it's called, but Flat Earth Sun and Moon Zodiac app. I think is what it's called. Yeah. Yes, sir. That's a good question, though. That is a good question because these are the questions you should ask. The chat wanted me to bring this up to you guys. There's something called the Selenilian eclipse. Okay, it's a type of lunar eclipse. So what the globe Earth model claims is that during a lunar eclipse, the Earth actually blocks the light from the sun and casts a shadow onto the moon, right? That's what they say a lunar eclipse is. Well, we have a Selenilian eclipse where both the sun and the moon are up above the horizon during the eclipse. Well, how could the Earth be blocking the sun onto the moon if both the sun and the moon are up above the Earth? Take all the time you need. It's called the impossible eclipse by NASA. NASA calls it that. Oh, and by the way, supposedly we've been to space, but NASA can't even predict eclipses using the heliocentric model. They use what's called the Saros cycle, which was made by the Chaldeans in 2500 BC. Of course, they knew the Earth was flat and not moving and geocentric. The eclipses just have a cycle. They can't even use the heliocentric model to predict eclipses, and we have a lunar eclipse that's literally impossible on a globe Earth. Of course, during the Selenilian eclipse, where both the sun and the moon are up above the Earth during the eclipse, the shadow also comes from the wrong direction, according to the globe Earth. We have a literal phenomenon in the sky that debunks the fairy tale of heliocentrism, and none of you have ever even heard of it. Selenilian eclipse. Google it. Y'all got anything else you want me to talk about? Nice plug for that. Yeah, bro. What's going on? Oh, I should ask the questions off the mic. That's a good idea, so they won't just get the answers and try and come up with it. Doesn't matter. No one ever wins the money, bro. That dude was here and didn't know. It's all good. It's hard to remember these things. I've just been talking about it for 5 years. Who remembers like exact miles down? And I always give them, if they get 25,000, I normally give it to them. I normally give them extra questions.
$100 for answer 3 questions.
Yep, $100 cash if you can answer 3 questions about the globe Earth model. I normally let you do like an entire group can do it. The only rules are you can't have your dumb phone out with Google. They're not smartphones, they're dumb phones. They've made us dumb. Oh, and the first question is the easiest question I could think of. How many times does the Earth spin every 24 hours, according to the globe Earth model? So, how do you have water bending around the outside of a ball when water always finds its level? Now, most of you just want to say, gravity. Effectively, this is the heliocentric God. Gravity's the answer to every question you can't answer. But I'll show you why this isn't true. So, gravity has no empirical evidence. Apparently, butterflies are gravity-proof. Apparently, helium balloons are gravity-proof. You know why helium balloons go up? Because they're less dense than the air around it. They're lighter than the air around it. It's called density, equilibrium. You know why you're sitting on the ground or standing on the ground? It's because you're more dense than the air. So when I throw a beach ball in the air, it falls down because it's more dense than the air. Whenever I take a beach ball to the bottom of a pool and I let go of it, it goes up because it's less dense than the water. Density determines direction. It's nothing to do with gravity. The only reason they say gravity's a thing is because the Earth couldn't even be a ball if gravity wasn't a thing, so we assume it is real, and then we try to explain how it actually works, and we still haven't figured it out, because you would fall off the ball. It has to explain omnidirectionality. That means that you stick to it in all directions. There's no evidence for it at all whatsoever. And in fact, when you use the theory of relativity and apply it to the universe, it's off by 95%. That's in 2021. That's the top tier of your science. They can't explain 95% of the universe. It's off by 95%. I thought I was crazy. Y'all got any questions, hit me up. What are people looking at? The White House is behind me, bro. Preach the gospel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so The scriptures, along with every other ancient depiction in the history of mankind, describe the Earth to be a geocentric stationary plane. I found out that the Earth was flat about 5 years ago. I started researching it. That was before it was censored. Congress now admits that they forcibly censor it. I've been kicked off YouTube, Facebook, you name it. I've been kicked off Venmo and PayPal. I've been kicked off of PayPal because I'm a flat earther. That's ridiculous. Anyway, so once I found out what the true nature of the Earth was, I was like, whoa, all of a sudden the scriptures are actually true. They could be right. They're viable now. It didn't prove that they were right. It proved that they were viable. Now, there are people out here that claim they believe in the Bible, and they also believe that the Earth's a ball. Well, the Bible says the exact opposite of that. It says that the Earth is immovable and fixed and will never move from its foundation, that it has pillars and foundations, and there are corners of the Earth. There aren't corners on a ball. It says there's a firmament stretched over the top of the Earth like a tent, and we're grasshopper inhabitants inside of it. It says that the Earth takes shapes like clay under a sill that's flat. Kings used to sign their letters with clay. They'd press down a sill. The Earth takes shape like clay under a sill. So the scriptures objectively do not describe the Earth as a spinning ball. They say the exact opposite. You either have to think the Earth is a ball or that the Bible's real. You can't do them both at the same time. And by the way, the truth is the scriptures actually are real. They've just been messed with, changed in English translations. The names have been changed. People have come up with religions and denominations to change everything, to confuse everyone. They changed the name of the Messiah to quote-unquote Jesus. That wasn't his name. It was Yeshua. Of course, the Creator supersedes semantics. So call him that if you really insist. But the point is, I've never seen another quote-unquote religion attacked more than this one. They changed the main character's name. They changed his birthday. He wasn't born December 25th. It actually looks like he was born on September 11th. Does that date sound familiar to anyone? Based on all the astrological evidence, he was actually born on 9/11. Oh, speaking of 9/11, do you guys, because apparently people don't think the government would ever lie to them, and NASA's just the one exception of the governmental agencies that lie. Do you remember the story of 9/11? So the day before, they came out and they acknowledged that $2.1 trillion was mysteriously missing. The very next day was 9/11. A supposed plane hit the Pentagon in the very location they documented where this missing money was. Does that sound like it's legit? Or maybe they stole the money. The government always lies. Why would the government lie? Can you tell me when they don't? Let's start with that. There's something called the Vietnam War. Did you know they said that Vietnam attacked our ship and then we had to go fight Vietnam War? Well, it's now declassified and admitted by the military themselves. We attacked our own ship in a false flag attack to justify attack in Vietnam. In Gulf of Tonkin, it's literally declassified and admitted by the military. Most people just want to say, why would they lie? Why would they lie? This doesn't even matter. Why would they lie about this? I always use this analogy. I feel bad for the people that have been here all day. They've heard me say it 3 times. Anyway, the analogy is, say you have a girlfriend. I know it's a real hypothetical for some of you guys, but let's just say you have a girlfriend. I walk up to you with an iPhone and I say, bro, I got some bad news, bro. Your girl's been cheating on you. I got a video of it. Would you say, no, I'm not looking at the evidence of that until you tell me why she would lie? I don't believe she would cheat on me, so why would she lie? She would never lie to me. It doesn't even make sense. I'm not looking at the evidence and you can tell me why she would lie. No, you look at the evidence and you figure out why she cheated on you. That's what you need to do with the Earth. Look at the evidence, find out what the truth is, then figure out why they lied. They'd get $60 million a day at NASA. But the government would never lie for money, huh? They say you can't go past the 60th south latitude according to the Antarctic Treaty, but the government would never lie to hide land and resources, huh? They tell you you're a tiny speck of dust in an ever-expanding universe and everything came from nothing and you evolved from apes. Now you're nihilistic. Fancy word for apathetic, which just means to not care about anything. That's why they used to give people in concentration camps fluoride, because it made them docile and thus they took orders more obediently. So you're easier to control when you think there's no creator. They hid the creator. The Earth is a geocentric stationary plane. It had to be created if it's the center of everything. Another reason they lie is their psychological ramifications to believing the opposite of what you observe. You can no longer determine what's true and what is false. So whenever you feel like you're not moving, you're actually moving. When you see things moving in the sky, they're actually still. And when you see the Earth is flat, it's actually curving. Now you can't tell the difference in reality and fiction. You can't determine what is true. You can't trust your senses. The globe Earth is literal nonsense. It's nonsensical. It's the opposite to all senses, all empirical evidence, all scientific evidence ever recorded and documented in the history of mankind. There's $1 million reward to anyone that can show water bending around the outside of a ball and adhering to the outside of it. This has been offered for 2 years and no one can do it. It'll never be done. It defies physics. It can't be done. You can't have pressure sitting next to a vacuum. That right there debunks the whole story. It's called the Second Law of Thermodynamics. Pressure will fill the available space, entropy will increase, and systems seek spontaneous equilibrium. You cannot have a pressurized system sitting next to a near perfect vacuum of 10 to the negative 17 torr to fill the available space. The reason it's called pressure is because it presses on the walls of a container. That's why it's in the word pressure. You have to have a container, just like when your soda, to stay fresh and carbonated, it has to be sealed and contained. When you remove the sealer, it goes and it equalizes to the lower pressure around it. This is called the second law of thermodynamics. The globe Earth makes claims opposite to the second law of thermodynamics, opposite to fluid statics, opposite to every single topographical measurement of the Earth to ever be done, opposite to every single observation and long-distance observation that we have. Something's not adding up. You should question everything you've been blindly told. And honestly, if you don't know the truth, stop telling your children that this is the truth, because that's why I really do this. Some of you guys are adults, don't want to know the truth. Keep it pushing, bro. But you're lying to kids. Actually, kids are baby goats. You're lying to children. Okay? And that's not cool with me. You know what the scriptures say about that? That if you are to lead one of these little ones astray, it's better you have a millstone tied around your neck and you be thrown to the depths of the sea. I know that sounds a little bit extreme. I know some of you guys aren't intentionally lying to them, so that doesn't really count. Although you do tell them people sneak in their house at night through fire to give them presents. But all I'm going to say is, don't lie to children. I'm not going to get too specific because I don't want to say that if you still tell them that, it's whatever. But I do this because children are being lied to. And if you're younger and you're at school, ask your teacher how we have pressure that keeps us alive. It's called oxygen. How could it be sitting next to a vacuum due to the second law of thermodynamics? And you know what she'll say? Nothing. You'll get crickets. Or she'll say one word, gravity. And gravity doesn't answer the question. Gravity doesn't stop pressure from filling the available space at the surface where it's the strongest. It would never stop it hundreds of miles above the surface where it's weaker, while it's sitting next to a vacuum. I debate astrophysics professors. I promise you that your middle school teacher's not going to be able to answer that. So stop lying to the children and telling them they can't believe anything that they experience. They're special. They were created in the image of the Creator. They're loved. They have a spirit, right? They didn't come from rocks and monkeys. That's ridiculous. And they can trust their senses. And when they feel like the Earth's not spinning, it's because the Earth's not spinning. And whenever they look in the sky and they see that stuff in the sky moves, it's because stuff in the sky moves. And whenever they see that the horizon's horizontal, which is where the word comes from, it's because the horizon's horizontal and it's flat, not because it actually is curved, just looks flat. Don't lie to them. If you want to believe it on your own. At least tell them both sides of the story so they can think for themselves. This actually isn't a debate, though. That's the funniest part. That's why it's censored, and admittedly censored in Congress. And all you'll ever find when you look it up is the Flat Earth Society, which says everything that no real flat earther believes in. See, there's a radius value. We tested the radius value. You can go test this for yourself and prove the Earth's a ball or not. This is not a debate. It literally isn't. This is why I've been kicked off PayPal, Venmo, YouTube, you name it. Unless it was a free country. I guess not when it comes to the nature of the Earth. They said it was dangerous misinformation. Oh, wow, it's so dangerous that I might not think the Earth's a tiny speck of dust in a vacuum that spins defying physics. How dangerous. You know what it's dangerous to? Their misinformation and their propaganda. It's dangerous to their lies. If we found out they lied about that, no one would ever trust them again. That's why it's dangerous. Okay? The truth is, we falsified the radius value. The Earth has to bend at 8 inches per mile squared. We have to see the curvature of the Earth at 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Objectively, this is geometry. There is no debating it. The curvature of the Earth can be no further than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That means 1 foot off the surface of the Earth, because the square root of 1 is 1. We should see the curvature of the Earth no further than 1.225 miles away. We have an observation 1 foot off the surface of the Earth. The horizon's 10 miles away, which will require the radius to be 264,000 miles. They claim it's under 4,000 miles. What's going on? They lied. We falsified the radius. We have these observations all over the Earth. You name it. There are tens of millions of flat earthers, and you would never know that because we're censored. You think it's just some niche group of people that think the Earth's a disk in the solar system? No one thinks that. No one thinks the Earth is spinning and flat. We know the Earth doesn't move. The sky moves over top of us. The Flat Earth Society was put out by the CIA to confuse you and make you think that we're stupid, crazy people. The funny part is that none of you guys can even win the $100. None of you guys know anything about it. None of you guys have ever tested it. None of you guys have made long-distance observations or measurements or read declassified military documents that admit the Earth is flat. You're ignorant of the subject. It's very unfounded for you to throw stones at someone that knows all about the subject that you say they're ignorant for not believing in. $100 to anyone that can answer 3 basic questions, and the first one is how many times does the Earth spin each day? I couldn't think of an easier question. That's why that's the first one. The Earth doesn't spin. You're exactly right, brother. It doesn't spin, and it's not a big deal. We just need to take our sovereignty back. You know, if you haven't been here for the last year, the government decided they were going to take over. So this is supposedly a free country, but now we use the word lockdown a lot. You know, lockdown's a prison term. I don't know if you're familiar. Lockdowns, that's a prison term. Yep. You know who else has curfews? People in prison. You're only allowed out in the pod for a certain amount of hours, and then you have to go into lockdown. They have turned this country effectively into a prison overnight, effectively. 1 year. Just 2 weeks will flatten the curve. Oh, I'm in a year. Where does it stop? We don't need the government's permission to breathe oxygen. All hell Biden, he said we can breathe oxygen again. How about he kicks rocks, he can't even speak coherent sentences, and I breathe oxygen because that's what keeps me alive. I don't need his permission. And actually, I wish I could get more specific about what they're doing, but YouTube will terminate my channel for quote-unquote medical misinformation, even if I read literal medical journals verbatim over the mic. Yeah, you can't talk about it. You can't even say the word.
You can't even say PG.
You can't say it. You can't say it. Yeah, it's a joke. And guys, that isn't free speech. That's not free speech. So take your rights back. And I'm going to drop the real red pill for you guys in case you weren't here when I said it earlier. They're conditioning you for the mark of the beast, and that's why they're scanning your wrist and forehead. Dude, we are in the season of the end. They are scanning your wrist and your forehead when you go in to buy and sell. This was prophesied thousands of years ago. And now they're telling you, oh, take something that we're going to give you. Uh-oh. Get right with the creator of the scriptures, the Father. Ask for forgiveness, repent, and you're good.
You want to debate scriptures?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. You think the scriptures say the earth's a ball? All right. I was excited. That's someone going to debate me. I knew that wasn't going to happen, though. Do I want to debate scriptures? Absolutely. I debate them all the
I have a
time.
question, sir.
What's up?
So I got a friend, and he's like, he's also he believes in flat Earth, and I'm like, hell yeah. But he's also, the thing is like, he's in a lot of DMT. I love him though. And I'm just saying, and like I listen to everything you're saying, but I'm always like, well, maybe it's like because you've done like the DMT.
I don't do drugs.
Okay. But okay, cool.
Yeah,
But
and no, I didn't used to do a bunch of drugs either.
Okay. That's chill. I'm not even like trying to.
No, you're cool. No.
Yeah, like, but that's what some just like, just like would like doing. So you didn't do it, so that's chill.
I strongly suggest that no one does it.
Okay.
Yeah, because it actually helps you peek into the metaphysical realm, and we're not supposed to do that. There's a bell put here by the Creator to keep us safe. You don't want to see in there, trust me. Unless He lets you see in there. You can take that or leave it.
Okay.
And also, I would strongly discourage astral projection. It leaves your vessel empty. And you know how they tell you that windows are the eyes to the soul? Well, whenever you take drugs like that, your eyes get really big, don't they? Your pupils get really big. They can see further into your soul. Take it or leave it. I encourage you to stay sober because the enemy comes around like a roaring lion looking to see who can devour. It's much harder to see the truth whenever you're not sober. Take it or leave it, though.
Appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir. Much love, bro. So the truth is, they lied about the earth. It's not a big deal. But what is a big deal is that we have allowed them to effectively take over it. So we need to get our sovereignty back. See, the reason people don't want to accept this truth is because if they lied about the earth, it doesn't mean America versus China. It means us versus the governments. Because they had to all work together to hide this. Every single major world superpower in the world has signed the Antarctic Treaty and do not let us privately explore that region. I thought they were enemies. I thought they hated each other. They don't let us privately explore the earth. You know that actually, that's a right we have from the Creator. I say this out here a lot because it seems like people don't know anymore. There's something called the Declaration of Independence. And what it says is that we have rights from the Creator. That's what it says. We have rights from the Creator. Then we have a Constitution. It articulates those rights we got from the Creator and says the government has to listen to them. The government doesn't give us our rights. We wrote down an articulation of our rights from the Creator, and they have to listen to them. So now y'all are taking orders from the government. What has happened? It's because they basically got you to be submissive due to fear. And you guys watch CNN or Fox News. You better pick one. You better pick which side you're on. If you had to pick one, that'd be the better one, but they're both terrible. And the truth of the matter is declassified Operation Mockingbird, the CIA controls the mainstream media. This has been declassified for numerous decades. In fact, they were questioning Congress, and they asked if the news anchors were agents, and he said, I think we need to continue this conversation behind closed doors. Operation Mockingbird admits that they infiltrated the media, and the reason that they say they did this is because they can control the public narrative for the geopolitical narrative of the time. They admit that they control mainstream media. So you're going to believe the CIA and what they tell you? They told you to pick the right or the left. Now argue amongst each other, stay divided. Yeah, the truth is you really just want to step outside of the beast system. They just want to divide us. They want to divide us based on color. They want to divide us based on politics. Whatever they can do. It's conquer, it's divide and conquer. If we all step together and we were like, hey, stop lying, you're now gonna limit you, stop stealing our money, we'd be fine. But we want to argue with each other about stupid petty things that don't mean anything. You realize that every single US president was kin? They were all related. Literally, you can verify yourself. Every single US president ever was related, and they all track back to English royalty. That includes Trump, that includes Obama, that includes a psychopath that lives there right now that can't speak coherently. Every single one of them are related. You guys think that's a coincidence? I thought we broke away from English royalty. Well, every single president ties back to them. And you guys are picking the left or the right. They're just dividing you. The truth is they lied about where you live. They lied about how it is that you should live. They lied about who gives you permission to live a certain way. And the truth is the Creator made you, and He's the one that gives you rights. They don't give you your rights. They just attempt to take them away. And guess why they got to do it? Because everyone did it. Everyone complied. People are still walking around scared of the oxygen. A year later. It's beautiful outside, guys. It feels amazing. Breathe. Just breathe. We don't need their permission. I can't even get specific about that, though. Again, I'll be terminated. Yeah.
The 120 was titled General
Oh man, this guy might be ladling gravy that's not allowed on my YouTube channel because I'll get terminated. In a world, 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 in a world. Much love, brother. Yeah. All right. I know, and I'm just saying I can't say certain things or YouTube will delete my channel. So, I'm gonna say, hey guys, check this out, check this out. Here's a little, I know that some people, maybe they'll listen if the words rhyme. Some people like rap. If the words rhyme, it must be true. So I'll do a little spoken word for you really slow, or at least I'll try to keep it slow. And I want you to listen to the rhymes. Okay, so geopolitically, we're in a field that's for Israel. I wonder, is it real? Rappers, actors say they high, say they sip with pills, glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big Pharma set it up just to flip the pills, control the music industry until the scripts get filled. They took the way you saw the world and distorted it. And now you think you want to rock that twirl somewhere orbiting. Their theory's disproportionate, the truth will get distorted quick with a forceful grip. They force and misinfo that we absorb and quick. Took the people's signature, extorted it, they forging it. If news anchors informants, then I wonder who informing them. There's a surplus, but they tell us there are shortages. Credit economy, mortgages, a dollar that's supported with empty fortresses. But what's important is this, reporting ships, important gifts. Of course it is what extortion is. In accordance with an assortment list of foreign tricks. We ignoring which, informing this, we snoring tricks. Pedophilia and the government endorsing it. Yeah, eugenics is exactly what abortion is. You just vilified those insubordinate, but that's the way the Matrix engineered. That's unfortunate. And that's the truth. They tell us that we don't have any supplies or food or water. We have plenty. They say, oh, we're running out of land. No, it's literally everywhere. They just tell you there are shortages so you freak out. They told everyone that we're going to run out of gas and everyone went and bought all the gas up. Well, yeah, you ran out of gas. You psychopaths went and bought all of it. And now they said, oh, another cyber attack with the beef. And then they're going to say water. And then they're going to say the electrical grid's going down all over the place. They're running a psychological operation to acquire logistics to see exactly how dependent you are on the infrastructure and how much you will blindly believe the media so that they can take over in the future. They are conditioning you for the mark of the beast, scanning your wrist and forehead, telling you to identify yourself, to buy, sell, and trade, and to take something that genetically modifies you that's, I can't even say it. So, it's time that we wake up. It's time that we wake up. I'm out here to help you guys. People attack me and I'm literally on the front line just to try to help you guys and raise awareness before it's too late. Get right with the Father, He loves you. You're not a tiny speck of dust and everything doesn't come from nothing, that's dumb. Alright, I'm gonna take a break. If anyone thinks that they can win the $100, come up here. $100, anyone that wins or answers 3 basic questions about the globe earth correctly. And if anyone has any genuine questions, you can come up here, because since I'm such a dumb flat earther, you should be able to stump me. But you can't. I debate astrophysics professors. It's okay. The Earth's not a ball. We can all just get over it. To me, you guys sound lame that it makes you freak out.
Me and my homie, Ben,
Oh, what up, guys? In a World TV.
Good job, bro. Your money's the safest can be. Dude, I've been literally on a microphone for 4 days asking people if they want $100 and no one gets it. Yeah, I've been here for 2 days. I went in front of the Washington Monument and in front of the Mason Monument yesterday.
I've been walking all over. Lord, had me take my flag out. Come down here.
Word. How you doing, bro?
Doing excellent. Time of season is perfect. So what needs to be done? It'll take place out front. The big show is about to begin.
He's coming back, bro.
Yeah.
The shoe is coming back. He's not very happy.
3 symbols that are going to take me out. The color, the flag, and the cross. These are everything they're trying to accomplish. You know.
Yeah, but hey, if they get you for him, you get a crown in heaven, bro. Just can't talk for the truth, brother.
I ain't really got to say nothing. Speak for itself. Lord's got me.
Oh, the chat wants me to tell you guys this. So the Pentagon was given 180 days to release all UFO information. Wow, that's so impressive. The Germans had UFOs in the 30s. Wow. I've seen 7 in one night. Wow. Almost everyone here's seen one. Well, actually, I don't know. You guys probably just stare at your phone all day.
Hey, look at me. That's total bullshit. No.
180-day deadline was actually released, and it ended by June 1st. So, sorry, you haven't read it. It's actually all over your mainstream news, even. Yeah, so in one of the bills about the deadly pandemic, there was actually a stipulation that they had a 180-day deadline to release all UFO-related information or to start to release it. So what they're going to tell you is, look, oh, UFOs, aliens are going to come save us. Oh, they're coming from intergalactic civilizations and all this nonsense. Aliens aren't real. And no, whenever you feel like the Earth's not spinning, it's not spinning 1,000 miles per hour. So you can actually trust your senses. You don't have to listen to people tell you what to think. You have your own brain. And the fact is, if I give her $100, she can't tell me exactly what the Earth is supposed to be doing that I'm crazy for not believing in. So who's crazy here? You blindly believe the government. So I'll tell a story. So I guess we should blindly believe Nazis. Since Operation Paperclip, we brought Nazis over here and put one in charge of space exploration, and he said he took us to the moon. I thought we hated Nazis. Your entire belief system is built upon a Nazi lie, because we've never been back to the moon since, and they say they can't go back because they destroyed the technology. They supposedly gave other countries moon rocks. It turned out they tested them and they were petrified rocks. Well, if they actually went to the moon and had rocks, why they have to lie to countries and give them petrified wood? They gave them petrified wood. It wasn't moon rocks, it was petrified wood. What a joke. You can look all this up. You can't go to the moon. And they say, oh, the sun and the moon just look like they're the same size. The truth is that the sun is 400 times bigger than the moon. It's just coincidentally exactly 400 times further away also, so that they look like they're the same size so we can have perfect eclipses. You know what the other option is? They're the same size. You know why it gets hotter around noon while the sun's directly overhead? Because the sun's pretty close to you. Yeah. Or it's 93 million miles away and it just happens to get warmer whenever it's overhead. What a cool story. So whenever you see the sunset, actually it's sitting still and you're falling backwards 1,000 miles an hour. If you want to believe that, be my guest. Please do not scare children into thinking for themselves. That's despicable. Tell them the truth about both sides and let them to make up their own mind. If you are to lead one of these little ones astray, it's better you have a millstone tied around your neck and you be thrown to the depths of the sea. And you also don't need the government to give you permission to breathe oxygen. They said it was going to take 2 weeks. That turned into a year. We don't need their permission. They're just trying to scare you into compliance or getting you ready for the mark of the beast, and that's why they scan your wrist and forehead when you go into stores. So you can think it's a coincidence. It's a 1,000-year-old prophecy. The Earth is not a magic spinning ball in a vacuum that defies physics. You're very special. The Creator loves you. He gave you a spirit. He gave you a soul. You're very special. You're not some tiny speck of dust. You didn't come from monkeys. You're not just random chaotic happenstance. The Creator loves you. He gave you power, and you do not need the government for anything. They don't give you permission to be free. You're free because the Creator made you free, and He loves you. And it's about time we get right with Him, because Yeshua's coming back. He's not very happy. He's coming back with a sword, not to play patty cake. Get right with the Creator. Humble yourself. Those who humble themselves will be exalted. Those that exalt themselves will be humbled. You live in modern-day Babylon. They are building the beast system all around you, and they're getting you ready for the mark of the beast. You are used to walking into a store like a robot and getting scanned on your forehead. They did that on purpose. It's so that after a year, you're used to that happening. So wait till it's a little invisible barcode that you can't see with the naked eye. Beep, beep. Oh, now you can come in. They told you have to identify yourself to come in and buy, sell, and trade. That's what the prophecy says. It also says that it'll be on your wrist and forehead, and that's what they're scanning. If you guys think that's a coincidence, you're a coincidence theorist. The entire world shut down overnight. And for all the people out here, and this is just going to not make everyone very happy, the world shut down under Trump. So he wasn't doing too much to help us. The whole world shut down. I will say he was the best president that we ever had, and it's just like being the fastest kid with no legs. He isn't a good president. He's better than other people. That doesn't mean anything. And the truth is that he helped shut the world down. And then the one we have in there right now, he's also a psychopath, and they're both related, and they're both friends. They decide that they hate each other. I'm just trying to help you guys break from the system. This is the beast system. This is the beast system. There's just two sides to it. Two sides to the same coin, two wings to the same bird. Think for yourself, you're free. The Creator made you and He loves you. See, the earth doesn't move and it's the center of everything. How else could it be there then? That's why they lied. You want to know why they lied? Because they told you you're a tiny speck of dust and you evolved from monkeys after lightning struck primordial soup, and then abiogenesis took place, which is the idea that organic life stems from inorganic matter. When the rocks turned into fish and they were like, man, this water's whack. I want to grow some feet. They jumped up out the water, turned into rodents. They literally say your ancestors are rats, by the way. And then the rats turned into apes eventually, which turned into humans. But there's no evidence for this, no intermediate species. Just believe us. It takes billions of years. The truth is, you were created. The earth is the center of everything, and it was created. And you have a spirit. And you have a soul. You're not just some random statistic. You're special. You have an individual consciousness. They're trying to strip this from you. They're trying to make us like robots and walk around and get scanned and have to identify ourselves. It's getting pretty crazy out here. And you know why the government was able to take over last year? It's not because they're that powerful. It's because we let them do it. You guys let them take over. They have to have your permission. The earth is not spinning. It's why you don't feel it spinning. And the reason this lie is so important is because if the earth isn't spinning, you know what that means? It's the center of everything that exists. That's called geocentric. They say that we are in a heliocentric model where everything goes around the sun. Well, they're sun worshippers. You can actually read Freemasonic literature. When you get to the 33rd degree, you know that the earth is flat, and you know that they're Luciferians, and you also know that they worship the sun, supposedly a symbolism of perfect intellect and reason, embodiment, and enlightenment. This is why they told you they went around the sun. And Albert Pike, the only Confederate soldier in the city with a statue outside, he actually wrote a book which explains to you that the earth is flat. See, the Freemasons know, but only the 33rd degrees. Not all the Masons know anything. They give you access to the library, but you have to read it and figure it out yourself. If you know anything about the Masons, you know they're the most rich, powerful people in the world, along with the Jesuit order. So it's time that we take our freedom back from psychopaths that lied to you, that know what the truth is. You can trust your senses. And the truth is, I don't want you just to blindly believe me. I want you to go test the earth. Go get a Nikon P900 and make long-distance observations and see if the earth is curving where it's supposed to be. It has to curve at 8 inches per mile squared. It doesn't anywhere, all over the world. Well, is the earth a ball that's just flat everywhere? You know what water does? It finds its level. Pour some water in your glass. If you have a water bottle with you, tip it over and watch it. It stays level. It always finds its level. If you turn it to the side or diagonal, it still finds its level. It's called fluid statics. It necessitates water finds its level. How could 70% of a ball earth be water that's level? Oh no, it's magic. It actually, level means curved. No, level means flat. That's what it means. That's why we put fluid in levels to build things. You can't go to space. We haven't even explored 70% of the oceans. Why are we obsessed with fairy tales about space where they show us cartoons and only the government can go, but we should just believe them? In the 1950s, Wernher von Braun, who worked for NASA in charge of space exploration, who was also a Nazi, by the way, a literal Nazi brought over here by Operation Paperclip, he wrote a book that said, again, he authored this in the 1950s. He wrote a book that said the main character, who was Elon, would have found the first civilization on Mars. Wow. Now there's a guy named Elon Musk that's supposedly about to take us to Mars in 2021. You guys think that's just a coincidence? I guess the Nazi was a prophet. This is ridiculous. The world's a stage. It's a script that they wrote, and they roll science fiction books out. Did you know that Jules Verne in the late 1800s predicted the quote-unquote moon landing to a T in a science fiction book in the late 1800s? Donald Trump was also predicted in a science fiction book from the late 1800s. Dude, this is all a lie to detach you from the truth. And the truth is that you're created, and they hate the scriptures, but they know they're real. And that's why they've made up like 50 different versions in English and changed all the words and made up new names and denominations to confuse you and make it look like it's not real. Because it gives you the cheat code. It helps you see that they're lies. Get right with the Creator. The scriptures are true. Yeshua loves you. He's the one true Messiah, the most historically accurate figure for exist. And if you never researched it and you just think he didn't even exist, it's laughable. You would have to say Alexander the Great didn't exist to say that Yeshua didn't exist. And there's thousands of times more evidence for Yeshua than Alexander the Great. It just shows that you have a bias. It's called confirmation bias and cognitive dissonance, where you want to hold two opinions that are actually contradictory to be true simultaneously. It makes your brain shut down. That's why you guys dismiss it and say, no, the earth couldn't be flat. What's it even matter? Why does Congress censor flat earth? I thought we had a First Amendment. They actually tried to shut me down before I even got started because they saw my banner. I thought we had the First Amendment. The only flat earth information that isn't censored is called the Flat Earth Society, which says everything that we do not believe. We do not think anything. In fact, we don't believe the earth's flat. We know it's flat. We're actually, vehemently opposed to blind belief. You believe there is a ball that defies physics. You just don't even know how big it is or how fast it spins. I'll give you $100 if you can answer the questions you can't answer them. I know all about it, though. That's why I know it's not true. So it's like telling me you think the Bible's real, but you never read Genesis. You sound like a religious zealot to me. Heliocentrism is your religion, gravity is your God, and you think you came from monkeys, so now you're your own God. You can make up your own rules. That's not how it works, though. I'm sorry. The earth is not a spinning ball in a vacuum. You cannot have pressure sitting next to a vacuum. It's called the Second Law of Thermodynamics. That's a natural scientific law. It's not debatable. I debate astrophysics professors, Ivy League professors, you name them. They can't answer this question. Why don't you go ask your teacher in school, or if you're in college, go ask your professor, how do we have pressure sitting next to a near-perfect vacuum of 10 to the negative 17 torr? Because the second law of thermodynamics says the pressure would fill the available space. Because it always seeks equilibrium. High pressure goes to low pressure. Heat goes to cold. If I make a cup of coffee, I sit it on the counter. It gets cooler over time because the heat migrates to the cooler area around it. If I open up a soda, it is higher built-up pressure because it was sealed. I open it up, it goes psh, it equalizes to the lower pressure around it. Every single time, always, there are no exceptions. Instantaneously, spontaneous equilibrium will be sought. You could not have pressure sitting next to a vacuum. It's literally impossible. What they claim space is cannot exist. And the only reason they even claim it is that because they couldn't even explain it mathematically without assuming that there's nothing there. And in fact, they still can't. They use the theory of relativity saying that space is emptiness and it's off by 95%. No, it wasn't right 95%. It's inaccurate by 95%. It's called dark matter and dark energy. So the top tier of your quote-unquote science I'm crazy for not believing in 2021 is still off by 95%. You sound like a conspiracy theorist. I'm going to take a break, though, even though I just said that. I always end up getting tempted to jump back on. But I will say in conclusion, look, I know it sounds crazy. When I first heard the earth was flat, I thought it was the dumbest thing I ever heard. I'm like, how in the world do people think this in the 21st century, these psychopaths? What are you talking about? How are we that archaic? We've been to space. We have pictures of the earth. This is dumb. But then I swallowed my pride. I looked into it like, what could it hurt? Let's find out what these crazy people actually think. And then I found out, whoa, they lied about the earth. Then I went out and tested it. I learned every single aspect of it. I read the theory of relativity, both special and general relativity. I learned all the metrics. I learned the curvature rate. I went out and tested it. I made long distance observations that are impossible, and millions of us have done this as well, and that's why it's censored, because it isn't a debate. It's something you can prove or disprove. If I'm wrong, you can go out and prove it. You can literally go prove if the earth's a ball or not. It's not just a question. You can go see if the earth curves where it's supposed to curve. It has to physically block your view. If you walk up to a mound of dirt, you can't see through it to the other side. That's what the earth has to do if it's a ball. But guess what? It doesn't do that anywhere all over the entire world. You can go test it yourself. But most of you guys won't go test it. You'll just pretend you didn't hear this. You'll turn and talk to the people around you like, this guy's crazy. They heard this to be a ball. We've been to space. And then you'll just go on with your next day, post a pic for the gram, go watch Netflix, and then go eat something with GMOs in it. Break from the mental enslavement. You can trust your senses. When you don't feel the earth's moving, guess why? The earth isn't moving. The earth is flat. You can test it. So just in conclusion, yeah, I used to think it was the craziest thing I've ever heard. I've been looking into it for 5 years. I actually wasn't allowed to get a 6-figure job offer because I publicly speak about the flat earth. My life would be a lot easier if I didn't have to do this. But I speak the truth because speaking the truth is the right thing to do. Seek and speak truth unequivocally, no matter what weak-minded people think of you. The weak find contentment in the consensus of ignorance. The truth is you don't need what other people think. Don't make your decision based on what majority of people think, because majority of people were cool with slavery. Majority of the people thought slavery was cool. So I guess if we just go with the majority, then we would think slavery was cool. We would think that everything that they thought was cool, and actually that was you have a whole entire monument built to Abraham Lincoln that supposedly freed the slaves. He's on record saying the exact opposite, and that races should never integrate. And there was slavery longer in the North. Everything you've been told is a lie. Okay? You do not need to make opinions based on majority or what the government says or what publicly funded textbooks say to you. You need to think for yourself. You need to break out of the matrix. You need to go read what the truth is, experiment, find out what the empirical evidence is, and then build your opinion based on the actual evidence, not what people think. There will always be weak-minded people that attack you because they're self-projecting their own intellectual insecurity and ignorance. Do not worry about what they think. That's the worst thing you can do. Go see if the Earth is curving. Go see if there's any actual evidence that we're spinning. Go make time-lapse of the star trails. You'll see they all go around the center star for all recordable history for thousands of years, even back to the Egyptians and before that. The stars have always done the same thing year after year after year after year after year because they move over top of us in a cycle. They tell us that we're spinning 1,000 miles per hour while going around the sun 66,600 miles per hour, while the sun shoots 500,000 miles per hour, while the galaxy shoots 1.3 million miles per hour. How could you be moving all those different vectors and see no difference in the sky for thousands of years? It would never happen. The sky moves, the earth does not move. The earth is the center of everything, and it is a plane, and you are special. You have a spirit. The Creator loves you. The scriptures are literally true. Get right with the Creator. You don't have to listen to them telling you that you're an atheist. Atheism doesn't exist. To be an atheist, you have to say you know for a fact there is no Creator. Not one person would say honestly they know for a fact there is no Creator. So you're agnostic. You don't know. There's no such thing as atheism. And actually, you can't even be a Freemason if you're an atheist. They consider it the dumbest ideology that exists, and they're the most powerful people in the world. They won't even let you be in the group if you're an atheist. They just wanted to make you an atheist so you're nihilistic. That means you're apathetic or don't care about anything. You're easier to control that way. How you figure out who the Creator is or how you express it, that's up to you. But the truth of the matter is, based on all the empirical evidence, the earth is the center of everything and it had to be put there. If the center of everything is the earth and it doesn't move, then literally it had to be placed there. You do with that with what you want to, but you want to know why they would lie? I'd have to talk for another 5 hours to tell you why they would lie. Why wouldn't they lie? Knowledge is power. They hid the land, they hid the resources, they hid the Creator, and they made you think everything you ever experienced is the opposite of the truth so they could brainwash you. And look, it works. People are still scared to hear. Take off the mental enslavement chains. Think for yourself. Also, just in conclusion, I'm going to get off the mic for a second. If anybody thinks they can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth, come up. I'll give you $100 if you get them right. In addition to that, if anyone has any genuine questions or thinks they can stump the dumb flat earther, feel free to come up here and ask me and see if you can. Peace out.
This has become my favorite part of the day. Yeah. Just a sec, I'm gonna come over there and chat with you guys. Go get your CC game up though. So just in case you guys don't remember where we are. Oh, is it blocked? Interesting. Wait for it. There we go. Yeah, we're just casually sitting out in front of the White House. Thanks, I highly appreciate that. Yeah, brother. Dude, we gotta kick it, dude. I'm gonna do this in front of Times Square. Sorry, the camera's still kind of blocked. Oh my goodness. See, this is an iPhone mini because Verizon gave it to me for free because someone stole my phone. And so it's kind of hard. It doesn't have as much length. All right, I'm gonna run down the street because I have to use the bathroom. So I'm sorry. I'll be back in like 5 minutes. 5-minute intermission. So yeah, I'll be back in a second, guys. I gotta go use the bathroom real fast. I just want to hear the 3 questions. Dude, I've asked so many people, they never get them right. And if they're close, I let them keep going. I let them use the entire group to get the questions. So if you got new questions you think I should ask it in the comment section. I'll read them in the chat. I'll read them as I walk to the bathroom. I'll talk to you on the chat, but I have to go use the bathroom.
You can? No, I'm gonna stay here. No, I'm gonna stay here.
Oh, it's by the Capitol, right? Yeah.
It's like a free map of the area. So you don't get lost. You seem like you're happy. I'm gonna vote for you, happy people. Here. I am extremely happy. I'm a representative for homeless. Like this one. We feed homeless people within 25 minutes. I work for a shelter called now, right? So I was once called I like you guys. I'm getting old. I'm 55. But, so you feed people within a radius. Church got through this organization. These are donations. You give with like $1,000 key change today. These are like for a small donation, anything, $1, anything. Feed them homeless. It's about feeding people every day. You know what I mean? So the key change is free. You can take one for your mom if you want. You got like 1,000. Pretty cool. Yeah, I know they are. Little pieces card. It's empty over here, but I get it. Yeah. God bless you. Yeah, no, I was saying that.
acá se ve bien. Acá se ve bien.
What?
They won't let me use the bathroom anywhere.
What?
Yeah, they literally won't let me use their bathroom. And I've only found one that was even open. In a world where Babylon is not fond of letting people use the bathroom. bathroom. It's like, okay, I'll order something to take out. You for dining. Yeah, like even if I ordered takeout, they were gonna let me do it.
Well, let's go find a place.
No, the only bathrooms are like over a mile away. Yeah. Pee in the Neptune fountain. That's pretty funny. All right, I'm gonna stand up. I'm gonna do a little more activism. I can't even sit down, and I'm gonna have to wrap this up. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna leave you hanging though when you waited, so I'll do a little bit more activism. What can you do, bro?
Here.
All right. I'm gonna break this down a little bit more, and then I'm gonna get out of here. World-renowned astronaut Don Pettit, direct quote: "I would go back to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back." They destroyed the technology for the biggest leap in mankind history, or they also conveniently destroyed and lost all of the telemetry data. This is literally the official story, by the way. The telemetry data would document the physical data of the trip. They lost all of it. But it's all good. We went to the moon, right? We got moon rocks, and we gave them to different countries. Oh, the governments of those countries tested the rocks. They were actually petrified wood. Why would you have to lie and say you were giving them moon rocks if you've actually been there? That's probably just another coincidence. This is a lie cast onto you by what we call Luciferians. See, if you read Freemasonic literature, once you're at the 33rd degree, Albert Pike, the only Confederate soldier outside in this city that has a statue outside, right? He was a 33rd degree Mason. He wrote a book. Most of you never heard of it. I read it. And they admit that they're Luciferians in the book. And they admit that the Earth is a geocentric stationary plane and that you're not allowed to make it to the 33rd degree unless you figure this out. So Masons know what the Earth is. And yes, they're admittedly Luciferians. It's the idea of collective intellect and reason. So if you've ever heard of the number 666, and you've ever heard of the idea of Lucifer, you know those are intertwined. 666 is the number of the beast. So let's check it out. Did the Luciferians really lie about the Earth? I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what the numbers are. I wonder how many of these can be repetitive coincidences, which, by the way, is actually an oxymoron. There can't be a repetitive coincidence. Okay, so the circumference of the Earth in nautical miles is supposedly 21,600. That's 6 times 6 times 600. The diameter of the moon, that's supposedly 238,000 miles away, is 2,160. 6 times 6 times 60. We're supposedly on a 23.4 degree tilt. But if you take that from 90 degrees, that means that you're also on a 66.6 degree tilt. Oh, so we're at a 66.6 degree tilt. Our circumference is 6 times 6 times 600. They say we're spinning around the sun 66,600 miles per hour. These are the official metrics. You think all these 666s are just a coincidence? They say that the curvature of the Earth is 8 inches per mile squared to 1,000 miles. That's 0.666 feet per mile squared. The only thing that can explain that the Earth could even theoretically be a ball is something called gravity, which would have to suck you down to the ball effectively. The number for gravity is 6.66666, rounded up to 6.67. So they stamped their number all over it to show you that it was them. But I knew that no one would ever pick it up. I just read it out loud to a group of people, and most of you guys are trying to immediately find a way to justify it and act like it's just a coincidence. See, they believe in something called natural law. This means they have to tell you the truth. You have to trick yourself. If they lie to you, then they actually get the natural ramifications. If you lie to yourself, they have no consequences. This is what they believe. They're not accounting for the metaphysical consequences, though. And Scripture Yeshua is coming back and he's not very happy, but we'll get to that in a second. I know I'll lose a bunch of you with that. So the truth of the matter is they lied about the Earth, and they brought Nazis over here to do it. The Nazis were really good at propaganda. Okay, if you're not familiar with history, 98% of the German population voted for Adolf Hitler. 98%. They also voted to give their own guns away. It's actually documented that they set up false flag attacks where people pretended to shoot people in public so it would scare the people. They kept trying to get them to vote for it, vote for their guns to go away. And they turned it down 2 times, and the 3rd time they finally gave in and voted their guns away. They were really good at propaganda, okay? There's someone named Joseph Goebbels who was actually over the propaganda department. The music's not gonna stop me. Oh, what? Oh, dude, what YouTube might. Wow, I'm just gonna try to talk over this. Jeez Louise. You're not allowed to play music on YouTube. Alright, so I'm just gonna have to speed through this because this guy's trying his best to interrupt me because he's mad at the Earth spinning ball. Wow.
In a world. Hey guys, I'm gonna end the live stream because this guy's trying to end it, and I'm just gonna talk loud on the mic without on YouTube. I love you guys. Seek and speak truth unequivocally. The weak find contentment, the consensus of ignorance. You want to support the tour, masqueradetour.com. Thanks for all the super chats, all the support. I'll read the chats later on the computer stream. I might take a nap and then do a computer stream. I love you guys. Peace out.